Welcome to the 114th episode of the Nerdom and Other Nonsense anime podcast. Today, we are bringing you the second half of the fall 2019 season First Impressions, based on our first few weeks of shows that have aired. As always, we include timestamps in the description of the YouTube video and the podcast feed. If you're lame and don't want to hear about all the shows, which that's kind of dumb, since I guess we spoil everything, My name is Kat, and I'm picking my lock first today, bitches. That's actually a lot of pressure. I'm not excited about it. So I'm legally not allowed to complain about whatever Leo chooses to do. Oh, you fucking cunt. Okay. Also with me are Leo and Bcom. I will complain about whatever Leo
you're
chooses.
You're going to complain anyways, and I know you are, because I know what my pick is already.
The best position to be in is to pick your lock last. That's the best. I thought that was my position.
You hated that last time.
You complained about it last time.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I lied about that.
No, first is best. I think.
Or
second. Second's also good.
Second
you have more
is
information.
good. Second is good because you have some leverage.
I think there's advantages and disadvantages to each one. So
you have to know people well enough to predict what's going to happen if you have first. So I'm going to have to be I'm going to have to try to be snarky is what it's going to have to be.
It's going to be so hard to predict my lock this time, guys. So hard.
Oh, it's so difficult for you.
Our rankings were so radically different. I don't think we're going to have a problem today.
Well, okay, no, I think that makes it worse when our rankings are really different. Because there's a lot of shows where, all of us will want different things. So it makes it more difficult when we're picking locks.
Yeah, this is true.
When there's consensus, it's really not that hard.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't know, we had some consensus on the top ranked shows, I think. Well, we'll get to that, obviously, later. You can even skip to that right now if you're, really lazy, but don't.
Don't tell them that! Shut up, Big
Look,
Mom.
this is a freedom of expression podcast, Kat, and our podcast listeners have the freedom to do what they will.
They have to listen through our, banter and complaining and fighting with each other before they get the results. God damn it.
That's true. Good point.
But first, does Bcom have any nonsense this week?
Oh, I have so much nonsense because I went to an anime convention.
Nice! I'm excited for you.
Yeah, I went to AnimeNYC, and there were quite a few premieres and things there. Even before the con started, the night before the con, the new Konosuba, the new Konosuba movie came out in theaters.
Woohoo!
So I went to see that, and it is pretty damn funny. Yunyun and Megumin are the stars of the show, as well as Kazuma, of course, who's just an idiot the entire time, as you would expect.
Yeah.
And Aqua and Darkness had their moments, but it was really a Megumin and Yunyun movie because they go back to her village and they meet Megumin's entire family.
Yeah, I was gonna say because they go to Megumin's family, so it's obviously about her, so that's cool.
Yeah, her family is hilarious. Her little sister is great. And she gets a great moment near the end of the movie.
Look how Megumin turned out. You know the family's going to be fucking crazy.
Her parents are hilarious. It's really funny. There's some controversial jokes in there what the internet has been rumbling about. There's some controversial rape jokes early on, and there's controversial transphobic thing that is near the climax of the movie. Just some trans panic of oh, that girl has a dick, kind of thing.
Okay.
So yeah, there's that. But otherwise, I thought it was pretty good. I enjoyed that a lot. So okay, then when I got to the con, one of the big appeals was that Yoshiyuki Tomino, the creator of Gundam and many other anime series, was there. And his panel was pretty hilarious. It was hosted by Austin Walker, who used to be on Giant Bomb, and he's currently working for Waypoint or Vice, though he's more of a freelancer now because he's just stepped down from his editorial realm. I was almost excited to see him because I really like his podcasts and his opinions and stuff, as I was to see Tomino, and they just had really good banter going back and forth. Tomino even confronted in the Q&A the question about how recently in a Japanese Playboy magazine he had been quoted as saying that Makoto Shinkai's movies weren't sexy enough because he keeps watching them and thinking to himself, the guy keeps reaching for the girl's hand but he never reaches for her crotch.
What?
Yeah, that's what Tomino was quoted as saying. And so in response to getting asked about this, Tomino said, Well, yes, that is. I can confirm that is what the magazine wrote that I said. So he just kind of avoided it completely, which is pretty hilarious. But yeah. Okay, for things that premiered at the con, I saw the first episode of a new TV show coming out in January called Keep Your Hands Off Eizouken, which is a new show from Science Sorrow and director Masaaki Yuasa, who's directed like Ping Pong the Animation, Devilman Crybaby, lots of stuff. It was extremely good. It was only half an episode, but I still was like really interested in it. It's like about like three girls who kind of remind me a little bit of the Asobi Asobase girls. And they're just like kind of nuts. And they all kind of want to make an anime together for different reasons. Like one of them's just really passionate about anime. One of them just really wants to make money. And like, I forget what the third one is, but she's also kind of like into animation and stuff. So that looked really good. Then on Saturday, I saw the entire film Fragtime, which is from the team that made the movie Kase-san and Morning Glories. So this is another Yuri film like that one. It reminded me a lot of Bloom Into You, except like extremely condensed into like a 45-minute film. Because it starts off like all kind of like nice and lovey-dovey, and there's like a shy girl, and then there's like an outgoing girl. But the outgoing girl turns out to be like a little weird. The shy girl also has the power to stop time for 3 minutes at a time. And the first thing she does when she stops time is she looks up the other girl's skirt to see her panties. And then the other girl is still awake and is immune to the time stoppage. So she's like, what are you doing? Why are you looking at my skirt? So that's like how they kick off their relationship. And then they kind of like stop time and like hang out with each other throughout the movie. But it gets like more dramatic as it goes on, basically. It was pretty decent. Nothing like amazing, but a pretty fun movie. The big movie was, of course, Makoto Shinkai's latest film, Weathering with You, which was like the last thing at the con on Sunday. I barely got into it because I went to the Funimation panel for like half an hour. And when I came back, the line was like 1,000 people long. And so I sat like all the way in the fucking back of this thing, but I still got to see it, even if I missed some subtitles because I was so far away. It looks really, really nice. It's very similar to Your Name in a lot of ways. It has a really good emotional payoff at the end, and it has a lot of humor in it, which Your Name also had, but this is like even more focused on humor than Your Name was. One of the best characters is the main girl's like little brother, who, when you watch the movie, you'll immediately know why I think that, when you get like used to him and his like shenanigans and how the main boy like kind of looks up to this little brother. It's really funny. But yeah, there's some incredible like animation in this. There's some beautiful like fireworks scenes where it's like a drone view going through fireworks, but animated, stuff like that. And yeah, it's really nice. And if you thought there was a lot of rain in like Garden of Words, another Shinkai movie, you haven't seen rain yet. This movie is raining constantly because it's all about the weather and like weird things that are going on with the weather and how this one girl can kind of control it.
I really love Garden of Words. It's one of my favorite anime movies. So I'm really excited about seeing a new one because all of his stuff is like so well animated, it almost makes your heart stop. It'll be interesting. And it's always very beautiful too.
Yeah, this one I feel like takes from things that he did in Garden of Words and things he did in Your Name and like makes them look even better. Like he just keeps getting better with this stuff. And yeah, so it's a gorgeous movie. And there are also some links to his past movies in this movie, which is kind of interesting. That was kind of fun and got a big reaction out of the audience. So yeah, it was a really fun weekend. Saw a lot of friends, went around the cons, saw all these new things, and had a really good time.
Is that Fragtime movie streaming anywhere?
No, it's not.
Kind of want to see it. Darn it.
I'm not sure when that is coming out exactly. One of the voice actresses was there, Miku Ito, who plays Mizuzu Moritani, and she talked about it a bit. And that was pretty fun. She was very cute. Holy crap. Also, I saw Aoi Yuki at the Fate Grand Order panel, and she was also insanely cute. Oh my god, it's insane. But, oh man, you would have loved this panel, Kat, because it was Aoi Yuki and another voice actor, Rumi Okubo, talking about, like, what guys in the gacha game they just, like, want to fuck.
It might have been fun.
It was so good. Like, Rumi is like talking about Gilgamesh from Fate and how she just wishes like she could be his throne that he could sit on.
Oh gosh.
And like the moderator of the panel is just like, we're trying to keep it PG-13, but it's not happening, folks. We're sorry. It was really good.
Well, that's kind of cute at least. I don't know. I probably just wanted to see the Makoto Shinkai movie more than anything else, but
Yeah. Most people got in, but I think a good amount of people did not make it in and were pretty upset. It's a pretty big room, though, so it was just the movie, like, so many people came to see it, so.
Nice. I'm glad you had a lot of fun, though, because, like,
Yeah.
going to cons is, like, amazing. It's a lot of fun.
It really is. It's a really fun time. Nice. I can't do it too often because it's, like, expensive to travel around and get hotels. But when it's, like, right in New York City, I can easily do it, so.
Now, see, if you split a room with a shit ton of people, then it's not expensive anymore.
That's true. And then you gotta have to, like, plan ahead for that, but yeah, that's one of the most fun things. And that's what some of my friends did, so that was cool.
Yep. For sure.
So what about you guys?
Are you saying they wouldn't let you room with them?
No, I decided to just... No, they wanted me to room with them.
No, you don't room with us.
They wanted me to room with them, but this time I just wanted to, like... I wanted to see how much more comfortable it would be just to go home and sleep in my own bed and then just take the train in every time.
Sleeping
and it turned
in your
out
own...
to be...
Go ahead. Sorry.
It turned out to be, like, way more relaxing to just do that. I don't know.
Sleeping in your own bed is, like, overrated. You want to sleep in, like, one
like
tiny hotel bed with, like, 6 people and cram in there and have to wait in turns to use the bathroom. That's the way to go.
See, if I was your size, I would agree, but I'm not your size. I'm, like, 4 times your size. Anywho, so what nonsense you guys get up to? We have a couple minutes.
What about you, Leo?
Nothing. Just still playing a lot of duos on Fortnite very regularly. We're top 3 or 5 anymore. Every once in a while, you get the fluke, and we just get wrecked really earlier, just right in the middle of the game. It's just like sigh. Or really, what happens is we come across these people that we call Buildmaster 5000s. You fire one shot at them, and then suddenly they built a 7-story structure and are coming at you. We're just like, well, we're fucked.
Nice. That's funny.
Yeah, we had another win yesterday, so that felt good.
Okay. So one of my best friends, she works construction, and she stepped on a nail, and like it was a bad one. It was like one of those where you step on the nail and like you lift up your foot, and like the board comes with it.
Ooh, okay.
So I spent most of Saturday like doctoring her because we live in a society where like, you know, healthcare kind of sucks and people don't always, you know, have access. So I like had her soak her foot in peroxide and we did all this shit and we're like, oh, I hope it don't get tetanus, and like cross our fingers, hope for the best, hope your foot doesn't fall off. So I played like Nurse Cat, and that was interesting.
You probably have an outfit and everything, don't you?
You definitely do. 100%.
I mean, maybe.
She's not denying it.
And then I took this monster Hiei to the vet, and he has doubled his weight in a month. So I got him. He was 3 pounds. Now he's 6 pounds. I don't know how an animal doubles its weight in a fucking month. It's weird.
Like little kittens and puppies, like they get big real fast. Like, yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, he's kind of obnoxious. Like he's very aggressive, but he's very sweet too. So I don't know. He makes up for it. But yeah, so that was interesting. He's getting the snip in a couple weeks, so he won't like that though.
Yeah, it's not gonna be fun for him.
No, but I'll like laugh maniacally as I take him to the vet on my way to work. Be like, what?
Jesus. Your sadistic's peeking out, Kat.
Well,
Jeez.
maybe little. But yeah, that's all for me for this week. Okay, so let's speaking of sadistic, let's think about some special crime investigation. I don't know.
Hell
good-
yeah. Sure. Picking
Is that a
back
good
up from anime.
transition?
Yeah, this is fine. Yeah, it's pretty good. Special 7, Special Crime Investigation Unit, which is airing on Funimation. This is an original anime from Studio Anima & Co., which this is like the first thing they've made.
So like for the first thing they've made, it's decently animated.
Yeah, but it's weird because like I was looking into them and they own, I guess, Studio NAZ, who made AnimeNYC and like My Sister, My Writer. So they own a studio that's made things. I don't know. It's kind of confusing to me.
That's odd. Huh.
It's even more confusing because like they have a chief director for this show, Takayuki Kuriyama, who directed AnimeNYC, and then they have like a sub director who directed like I don't know. Do I know any of these things? A special episode of Sailor Moon R. That's the one thing I know that they directed. Harume Kosasa. But anyway, okay. So the whole setup of this anime reminded me a lot of Fate. Because, like, the main character is caught up in a terrorist attack at an airport, but is saved by this, like, older badass dude, right? And basically tells him, you can become a hero of justice. And, like, I couldn't get Shiro Emiya in Fate, who's constantly like, I want to become a hero of justice. And, like, he's at the end of Fate Zero and the beginning of Fate Stay Night, like, Unlimited Blade Works, is in, like, a fiery field at the end of, like, the Holy Grail War. And it's like, so I just couldn't get the comparison out of my mind. But yeah. But this world's a little bit different. It's like, it used to be at war between like vampires and elves and dwarves, and like humans exist there too. But now they're all living in peace.
Well, so my first thought is like, this is too complicated.
Yeah.
Like I was trying to follow the different like thing, and then I'm like, now there are like people with animal faces and like what?
Those were masks.
And I was like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. I'm like, now people are robbing things. I don't know.
There was a bank robbery. I did the exact same thing. That scene showed up, and I'm like, are those masks or not masks? Or are these like beast people? I mean, what's going on? They finally said they were masks later on. I was like, thank God.
I suffered through for a while, and I'm like, there's just too much. Like, I couldn't be interested enough. I don't know.
Well, it reminded me a lot, it reminded me like slightly of Double Decker and like a little bit of like Blood Blockade Battlefront. Cause it's like, oh, here's this squad of like people who are cool and are gonna like take down like crime, blah, 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 blah. But I don't think it's like actually as good as either of those shows were.
Which is not good because those were not great shows.
Well, I mean, like, Leo, what do you think about this
Okay,
compared with like Double Decker? Because
So
you
like
really
Blood
like Double Decker.
Blockade Battlefront is actually pretty good, but like
No,
Double
yeah,
Decker is not.
Kekai Sensen's good, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also personally really liked Double Decker.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's way better than this. And Double Decker is also a lot more colors. This is kind of muted with grays, I feel like. Did you guys, as soon as the one main character, Shiori, started speaking, did you go, Ogata? From Golden Kamui?
So I had seen you write that, and then like when I saw it, I was like, "Oh my god, that is so."
Because he's the voice actor Kinjiro Suda. He's using almost the exact same voice. It's maybe a little bit different.
You could absolutely tell it's him.
Yeah.
I also agreed on you with like there is some like kind of bullshit in this episode where like the main character just like dodges a bullet like point blank.
The muzzle is like in his like pressed against his stomach, and like he says he dodged it, and I was just like, nah, I think he's just not telling us something. And then it's a sniper guy. He makes like this damn near impossible shot, which I'm like, all right, I'm going along, but they just keep stacking it. And then Bellamur is another child genius, and I'm tired of that trope. That just
she's also like a homunculus or whatever, which is weird. I don't know.
Oh, is she? I don't know.
Yeah.
And then there's Akane, the vampire, and she's like faster than bullets. But I'm like, okay, you're a vampire. I'll guess I'll give you that one. Oh yeah, and then Seiji, the bullet thing, and then he falls out of the back of a vehicle that's doing. I'll keep it low. I'll say 35.
Mm-hmm.
And like rolls, and he's just like sits up. He's like, I'm fine. I'm like,
Yeah, and like at the end of the second episode, he gets like sliced through his thigh with a combat knife. And then, like, moments later, he's just walking around like nothing happened. He's just like, okay, I'm good. It's just like, wait, what? There's also, like, a thing I think at the end of the first episode where a guy pulls a gun on him, and he, like, somehow has the time to, like, cock back, like, a full punch. Like, reach all the way back, and then punch this guy in the face with the guy just, like, not shooting the gun. And I'm just like, okay, this is real dumb.
It's like the vice president of the bank. Or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Who was behind the whole thing. Yeah.
So, like, all those little things, like, started to, like, take me out of this. And I was just like, this is an okay detective show. Not great, not terrible. But, like, I think there's, like, better stuff this season.
And that's the thing. Like, I don't understand why they come up with these shows where no one is really in love with it. And, like, they're not that good. I don't know. Just stop coming out with mediocre shit.
I think they just want people to be really into the samurai woman because she's hot, and that's basically it.
I guess. If you have enough time to watch a show just because you think one character is hot, though, you have a problem.
Vampire samurai. Well, you know what show doesn't have any hot characters in it? Well, arguably, anyway, is Africa Salaryman, or African Office Worker, seems to be like the subtitle from Funimation. So these are animals from Africa. These aren't African, like, American people or Afro-Japanese people. Just to be clarifying.
I was, like, very hesitant going into this because I was like, what is this going to be? I don't know if I trust Japanese people to...
I wouldn't.
It's weird because, like, the director, Tetsuya Tatamitani, on Mal, I just, like, copied and pasted the image of all the things he's listed as doing, because all of his roles are, like, director, color design, color setting, background art, animation director, director of photography, art director, and chief animation director. Basically, he's doing everything on this show, essentially, except maybe music, I guess.
Is this are these shorts?
No, it is a full-length episode. I think, 23 minutes long, I'm pretty sure. And so it's a basically, like, kind of like, it's a show for, like, Japanese, like, salary worker men who are just, like, fed up with bullshit at their jobs. But, like, it really started off on a foot for me that I was like, what is this? Because, so, like, one of these office workers is on the train, or, like, well, before he even gets on the train, he's watching a newscast, and, like, one of the newscasters is saying, like, train gropings have become a big topic of discussion in Japan lately. And then, like, a few scenes later, like, he and this toucan guy are on a train. Actually, no, the lion guy isn't on a train. It's like a lizard and a toucan guy. And there's these high school girls that, like, they basically are falsely accusing these guys of groping them to get money from them. Which I'm just like, is this really what we want to be, like, fucking talking about in this anime? Like, for the salary man, it's like, oh yeah, these girls are lying about getting groped on trains. That's what the real problem with Japan.
Yeah.
And then, like, the scene ends with the girls, like, trying to get this guy's, like, line ID to, like, report harassment. And then he's like, oh, well, she's just trying to score a date with me.
I've seen this exact same setup in another anime, I swear.
I feel like I have too, and I can't remember what the fuck it was.
Even down to trying to get his line ID and stuff.
Yeah, this must be some common shitty joke in Japan. That, like, to turn, like, the whole groping thing on its head, I guess. But, yeah, and then, like, later in the episode, the toucan guy, who's kind of an asshole, goes to a mixer. And the whole joke is that, like, while his friends end up with, like, cute animal girls at the mixer, he ends up with, like, an actual pig girl who just says oink, oink, oink.
Oh my god.
And he's, like, really upset at first. And then one of her friends is like, oh, but, like, she's the daughter of the owner of a major conglomerate.
So that someone in that anime studio had a really bad breakup. That's what I'm hearing.
Yep. Oh man!
I love
and
so, Colin, you still have to write the script for this episode, okay? He's like sitting in his house crying. Okay, fine.
Yeah, I don't know. The whole first episode just came out as like weirdly like misogynistic like office banter. And then the second episode was more about like just like their shitty working conditions and their shitty wages, and how like their boss, like who's like rich and chilling, just like orders them to go search out like Mekele Mbembe, which is like it's like the Loch Ness monster but for Africa. And yeah, it's just kind of stupid, and that's also, this show looks terrible. It's really, really, really poorly rigged CG characters. And especially when you have something like Beastars this season, it really stands out how bad it is. Like, if you put them next to each other, you're like, holy shit.
Because usually you could probably get away with it, but Beastars is like...
Yeah, it looks pretty good.
It's like right there, and it's like animal people, and you're like, that looks good. This looks like total trash. So yeah.
Well, they got one guy doing fucking everything.
That's true. For one guy doing everything, it's not bad. But yeah, it's pretty bad otherwise. So, I don't know. You guys want to move on to the next show?
Sure.
I took the bullet and watched some of these male idol shows this season.
Good God.
I think this was the better of the two. Yeah, so... Well, actually, the other one's not an idol show. But yeah, Actors Songs Connection from Funimation. This is based on literally the source's music. So what this was, it was like a collaboration where like a bunch of male voice actors covered popular Vocaloid songs from Japan. And then they did some drama CDs in between to like develop like the characters who were singing the songs. And that's what this anime is from. So this is like this weird mixed media thing. And yeah, like it's so... First episode like wasn't too bad. It like puts focus on the characters who matter the most for the episode, and while it still introduces like a whole bunch of pretty boys, like by the end of the episode, like it felt like more natural than some things that just like throw them all at you at once. The main dude, Saku, is a transfer student who has like a really great voice. But he's also got this trauma because his sister is like in the hospital. When he was like a little boy, like he scraped his knee or something, right? And his sister is like, don't look around like the festival. There's all these white shadows. These white shadows are like ghosts, basically, these apparitions that if you ask them to, they will heal you. And they can like heal your sickness or your injuries. And so he's like, what's this? Are you high right now? No, she didn't say that. So like he like believes in these things and like basically wants them to help his sister. I don't know exactly how this connects with the singing shit yet, but it's just like a weird mystery that's going on alongside all of the singing stuff, and I assume it'll connect at some point. Basically, there's a singing club at the school, and one of the main guys there is like a Genki dude named Hinata, and he really wants to sing this Vocaloid song that he really likes, but he needs to recruit somebody who has the range to sing it. And this is where things kind of fell apart for me, because they're like, okay, we need somebody whose voice can cover like a full 3-octave range to sing this song. And I'm like, dude, 3-octave range, that's like fucking Luciano Pavarotti or something. That's like insane. Like you need somebody insane to do that. And so they get Saku to do it, the kid who's like the transfer student. They recruit him to like sing the song, and he's like heard like singing it on a riverbank, you know, at the end of the episode by like the kid who wrote the song, who also goes to their school, by the way. And he's like, that was unbelievable. But I'm sitting here with my like ear training being like, that was not more than like an octave and a half. That was not 3 octaves.
Okay.
That anybody could sing this fucking song. Like that was bullshit. So, and also that they did have a pretty good voice, and I was kind of laughing because the voice actor who sung this song plays Asta from Black Clover. And he has a pretty good voice.
Okay. We didn't know.
He's also like playing the exact opposite type from Asta because he's so like calm and reserved in this show. It's pretty funny.
Wow.
And then it kind of went downhill a little bit more because the second episode was like, oh, they all do like a cooking curry competition at the beach. And I was just like, oh, we're already here. We're already at the beach episode with the curry by episode 2. And then there's like a teacher that goes with them. and there's like this giant white wall that has formed in the ocean, and like the fucking ghost white shadow things are coming out of it at one point. And I'm just like, I don't know what this show is. Is this like a cute school idol boy show, or is this like a fucking thriller mystery where everybody's gonna die? I don't know what's going on. It's weird.
You've just done nothing but confuse me.
And yeah, it's just this very strange show, and I don't know what to make of it. But yeah, it exists, and it's not as bad as some other idol shows I've seen. It's actually kind of mysterious, and that maybe is a bit of a hook. So yeah, that's about all I can say about it, though.
Okay. I don't know. I just didn't. I was like, eh.
Yeah, I totally understand that. I just decided I might as well watch it. I have the time. All right, next show, Babylon on Amazon Prime.
Okay,
this is from,
so you, for some reason, love this show more than life itself.
I do really think this show is pretty good. Yeah.
What is it about this that really got you, as opposed to all the other shows?
How did you even understand what happened the first episode?
I watched it twice.
I didn't get it. I didn't get it.
Dude, that episode ended, and I was just like, what's going on?
Yeah. So I watched this once like a couple weeks ago, and I was also like, I was in a voice chat, so I wasn't really paying attention. And then the end of the first episode hits, where there is a guy hanging from a noose from his bedroom, which really surprised me because I was like, how the fuck did that just happen?
You can't even tell who it is that's hanging from the noose until the next episode.
Well,
at first I was like, is it the journalist, or is it? That's what I thought, and then I was like, oh no, it's not the journalist.
If you're like really paying attention, you can tell from like context clues, but it's a little bit, yeah, you're right, it's a little vague. But yeah, like, so this show is from Studio Reveroot, who did like Fooly Cooly Alternative, and the director Kiyotaka Suzuki also did Psycho-Pass 2. So it's like a decent director, decent studio, and I think it looks pretty good.
Yeah, but Psycho-Pass 2 was
Psycho-Pass 2 was not great. Yeah,
it went like way off the rails.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, if you didn't get your dose of justice from Special 7, one of the funniest things about this episode, and right off the bat, is that like the main detective in this like drinks out of a mug that says "keep calm and serve justice." So I liked that. That was stupid. But yeah, the show is like 10 times more interesting than Special 7. So it follows two public prosecutors, one named Seizaki and a younger one named Fumio. And they're initially involved in this raid on a pharmaceutical company. And this pharmaceutical company was paying universities for like false advertising, either for its drugs or for like other competitors. I can't remember, like against the competitors. I can't remember. The evidence from the raid, though, quickly leads them onto like a different case, because they're looking through like the papers, and they find this one weird paper that when they peel like two edges of it apart, like has like all this like blood and fingernail clippings and skin and like the letter F just written over and over in it, like it was written by like a crazy person or something. And that all leads them to this anesthesiologist named Shin Inaba, and he is dead in his apartment, and he is dosed on anesthesia, like he was hooked up to a machine set to
I want to know how he got that machine to his apartment, because that's like hospital grade medical equipment right there.
I don't know if he had it there already because he's an anesthesiologist or what. It was weird, though.
I'm pretty sure anesthesiologists just don't fucking have these at their homes.
Just like don't keep that at home to practice, you know, like, yeah. That seems weird. That's a good point. I never thought about that. They find out that that doctor has been visited in recent months by a man and a woman. The man is a secretary to this really important politician, Nomaru, who is leading the polls for the mayor of this town, Shiniki. And they describe this town as a city on the outskirts of Tokyo that was sort of created to combat, like, the problems with like too many fucking people being in the center of Tokyo. So they built this second Tokyo basically to kind of like take the burden off of main Tokyo. And it's weird because it has its own government that is kind of run on its own, and it's almost like an experimental town in some ways. So they start tracking the movements of this secretary of this mayor candidate. And they find him like courting like this contractors union rep with like a young prostitute.
Oh, by the way, everybody, this is only the first 5 minutes of the episode.
Oh yeah, this moves fast and it's dense.
Yeah. It's very dense. I would say like it's interesting and it could be good, but it's almost too much and they don't explain some things well enough. They need to be a little more clear. I would say one thing that really struck me in the second episode is there's this weird, there's this prostitute that you meet who they're trying to interview her, and I can't decide if she's somehow been hypnotized because she keeps talking about how she fell in love with these 3 dudes who were her clients like that night, and how because her fucking all 3 of them is somehow not wrong because she fell in love with them.
Well, she's saying it in a very teasing way though too. Like she's definitely getting under the detective's skin as well.
Then it almost seems like it seems like there's something psychologically wrong to her. Like it seems like she's been fucked with somehow. Like like in the head. And then
I got the sense that she was fucking with other people as well, though.
I think it's both, actually. I think she's fucking with him, but also, like, she's been fucked with somehow. I don't know. And, like...
I think she's been fucked all kinds of ways.
She definitely has.
Obviously. But I'm just saying, like, something's wrong. Something's going on mentally there. And it makes me wonder, like, is that part of this plot? Like... And so I was very interested. I don't know. But, like, I also feel like the show could easily be, like, not as interesting as it seems right now. Like it could fall apart because sometimes shows that seem very dense and interesting, you look behind the curtain after a few more episodes and suddenly they actually can't back up what they're setting up.
Yeah, like, so I don't know, like the big initial thing in the show that like caught my attention was that like the young and up and coming like detective just dies at the beginning of the first or the end of the first episode. And so like it's the other detective who's like the more hard-boiled and jaded one who has to kind of pick up the pieces, and that's what leads him to that woman you were talking about in the second episode who is connected to these politicians. And then you find out there's like behind the scenes of this mayoral election there's like two or more teams that are like working together, and so it's like all fucking rigged, and somehow this woman is involved either as like a prostitute just gaining favors or something even more than that because she's done multiple things for them now. So it's really crazy. I watched a little bit of episode 3. Actually, I watched all of episode 3, but I won't comment much on it just because in episode 3 things start to get really crazy. And I don't know if that's a good or bad thing because I was really liking just like the normal like kind of political intrigue of the first 2 episodes and like the sex and like the murder, and in episode 3 it's like, no, this is all a societal experiment, bro. Like, and it's just like, wait, what's happening here? it goes a little bit off the rails for me, so I don't know. I'm really interested to see where it goes though. I think they do some really interesting things with like cinematography, like when he's interrogating that woman in episode 2, like there's all this weird paneling of her on one side of the screen, him on the other side, and there's one where they do like a horizontal panel where like her head is on top of his body facing backwards, the way that they paneled it together, and it's just fucking weird, and it just is unsettling, and I think it like makes the whole scene even more unsettling, which it's supposed to be.
Well, one thing that put me off about the show was that first episode being so much information that when I finished that episode, I was like drained, and it was like like it was just a chore trying to keep up with everything that was going on, and I'm like, this was not enjoyable at all to watch because of this.
Yeah, and they put out like the first 3 episodes all at once, and it would have been hard to sit through all 3 of those episodes and take in all of that information in one sitting. So I'm glad I did it on like 2 sittings, basically, like instead.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I find it really interesting once you do get into it and like understand what's all going on. Yeah, it's kind of weird. It's pretty cool. Anyway.
I just don't think it can back up what it's
yeah, that's
down
a big
here.
risk with the show, I think, is will it back up what it's putting down? And episode 3 has me worried. So we'll see. I don't know. Another one I'm not worried at all about is Stand My Hero's Piece of Truth. I'm not worried about it because it sucks and I'm not going to watch it.
No, that's my pick.
Studios Funimation. It's based on like an Otome game.
Oh, that's like strike
Oh, not
one.
Steve.
I mean, I would love for Otome Games to actually make good anime, but they never do. They never come out with a good anime.
Sorry, I said
based
the
on
studio is Funimation. It's streaming on Funimation. The studio is MSC, who...
Okay.
Just in general, any game usually doesn't translate over well to anime.
Yeah, that's true, but especially Otome Games. I think really it's not even that Otome Games are worse. It's just that there's not very many funds put into the anime that are made out of.
You see,
Otome
it's funny you
games.
say that because the only good game anime that I can think of is Rage of Bahamut, and the company that behind the game just must have just thrown money at the studio.
Oh yeah,
is what I think
has
happened.
tons of money. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely did.
It's really about the money. But
Yeah, this one was just kind of weird. It felt like it was like from a different decade or something, because like the main girl, Rei Izumi, is a police officer, and there's like a rise in like drug-related crimes in her city, and so she's tasked with scouting candidates for like a special task force called Stand to tackle this drug problem. Blah 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 blah. But like everybody else at the police station is a man, and they all kind of just think that she's like not going to be good enough because she's a woman, like pretty much, or like say like there's one scene where she like trips on like her high heels and falls into one of the men's like arms, and he's like, if you can't even do your job like because you're wearing high heels, why should I follow you? Like it's just like all this stupid shit. But she gets her big moment at the end of the episode because she gets on this like boat because she's trying to scout like a guy to join the task force. But somebody attacks the boat while she's on it, like sets fire to part of the boat to try and kill this guy. And she has to chase after him, but she has a big decision to make. Kat, you know why? Because she has to run down some stairs that have like holes in like the like stairs, like grated stairs.
It's like grates, yeah.
So she has to decide whether she take her high heels off and go after him.
it's not even to say you just throw them off. Like,
She
don't
did.
be an idiot.
She threw him off, but then she ripped up her stockings, and because
no, not her stockings.
because she ripped her stockings, one of the guys who didn't believe in her is like, "Wow, she's really dedicated."
Oh my god,
she really went for it.
So in my life, I think I've worn stockings less than 3 times.
Yeah.
I don't understand. No.
Oh my god, it was hilarious.
Is it?
The other special thing about her that makes her like the key for this task force is she's immune to certain drugs. And that's
Okay.
key.
Any reason why?
No. There's no reason why. I mean, not yet anyway. Like, there might be eventually, but she gets like chloroformed by this guy down at the bottom of the boat. But it doesn't work because she's immune to chloroform, and she like elbows
what
him
I'm
in the
hearing
stomach.
is she's been partying hard in her life,
Yeah,
and she's putting it to
basically.
good use. Yeah, that's the secret of her power.
She's like you. She took so many antibiotics that it just like wrapped around to the other side, and now she's immune to everything.
Yeah, I mean, hey, if I could be just immune to all diseases, I would be with how many fucking antibiotics I've taken.
So, I don't know. This might be a decent show to laugh at. It's not animated very well, and it's kind of dated, it seems like to me, the writing. But you might get like a kick out of it if you find this kind of thing funny. So, yeah. Then next, you ready for the next show?
Sure, let's do it.
Didn't I say to make my abilities average in the next life?
The fucking
on Crunchyroll.
dumbass isekai piece of
Cat
shit.
loves isekai.
A piece of crap on the ground.
From my most hated studio, Project Number 9, and the director, Masahiko Ota of Uzumaid and Himoto Umaru-chan and like Yuri Yuri. Like, they have directed some good things, but I don't know about this one, dog. I just wasn't too interested in the premise of this. And then, like, by the end of the episode, when that stupid woman with, like, the purple hair that looks like it exploded out of a popcorn maker showed up and started talking about how innocent and sexy these young girls were and how she, like, wanted to fondle them, I was like, I don't need to continue watching this. I've seen Uzumaid. I know where this goes.
See, I didn't even watch this because I saw the picture of, like, the 4 little... I'm going to emphasize little girls. I was like, I'm not even watching this. This is not worth my time.
I watched mostly to confirm what I already figured. And it didn't disappoint. It was basically as bleh as I thought. Did you watch any of this, Kat?
I watched like the small amount, and I was just like, no. I can't do most isekai. They're all so like hollow and vapid and.
Oh my god! Did you see what the studio's done?
Oh yeah, I know what project number 9 is.
Tenchi no 3B, Rokubu SS. What the fuck? There's so much trash in here.
If we could just remove this studio from anime would be like 20% better automatically. Just right off the bat. Just in general, it raises the average that far.
Oh god, they literally have nothing that was good.
Yep. That's what happens with some studios. They just get complacent with putting out bullshit.
I could talk more about the premise, but I just don't think it's worth anybody's time.
It's not worth our time. No. Yeah. I'm sorry if you liked it, reader.
Jet Girls.
Yeah. You know what is worth their time? Fucking Kandagawa Jet Girls. Streaming uncensored on High Dive. Thank you, High Dive.
I was surprised that Verve and High Dive put this out. Because, like, okay, when you click on it, it's like, are you over the age of 18? This is mature content. And I'm like, what? I've never seen this shit before. What the hell?
Yeah.
I was impressed with that.
This is an original anime, though I think it's kind of connected to like the Senran Kagura universe, maybe-ish. Because it's, I don't know, but it's from director Hirako Kaneko, who made like Valkyrie Drive Mermaid and Seikon no Quasar, so you know what you're getting a little bit here. This is the greatest sports anime that was ever conceived. Forget Hajime no Ippo. Fuck Chihayafuru. This is the real shit.
You will die for saying that. Like, the universe will strike you dead. I hope you know that, Bcom.
So what if I told you cute, huge-breasted girls race jet skis against each other, 2-person jet skis, with one driver, and then the girl on the back is like standing, and she's got a fucking gun, and she can shoot the other jet ski. It doesn't like hurt, and it doesn't hurt them, like it's not a lethal weapon or anything, but it will like slow down their jet ski, or it'll remove the girl's clothing that's on the other jet ski if they get enough critical hits. Because it like overpowers their clothes and they just pop off and go flying. This show is so bad that it's good, in my opinion.
What's the anime that it's just basically girls like smacking each other in the tits and the ass?
Oh, Keijo.
Yeah, this is like Keijo.
It's a lot like that, yes.
Yeah. Oh, I read that manga.
For me, like the best way to experience this show is like what I'm doing with like some of my friends is that in the first episode, we all chose a team because there's like a bunch of different teams, and you just like, you choose them like your favorite racehorse and you root for them, ride or die with them. It's great for group watches. And yeah, the high dive version is uncensored. There's some pretty gay stuff in there too, which is kind of fun. Couple of the girls,
of course,
get very lovey-dovey, but like actually like kind of like nice, like wholesome gay stuff, not just like, oh, this is like sexy gay stuff for men to enjoy. Yeah, you know.
What is your definition of wholesome gay stuff become?
That would take a long time to explain.
Put them on the spot like that.
We have time.
No, we're good. Gotta keep moving, just like those jet skis.
No. I want to hear what is your definition of wholesome gay stuff?
Well, I was trying to make a like draw a line between stuff that is just like needlessly like sexualized, and it's just like stupid, and there's like no heart in it, basically. Whereas like I think the relationship between some of these girls has like some heart to it, even if it is like sort of like an ecchi show. Like they care about each other, and like yeah, it's nice. It like gives you the warm and fuzzies.
It gives you the illusion that they care about each other while they tear their clothes off.
Absolutely.
Okay,
yes.
So it's like a good porn. It's like
it's like softcore porn. That's what he's saying.
Yeah. It's like, well, but they had some plot to it, so I feel better about the fact that I'm jerking it to this porn, basically, is what you're saying.
Exactly. Also, oh my god, the CGI for the jet ski races looks so terrible. It's so, oh my god, everything about this anime will make you just laugh, and it's so good. You should watch it if you haven't. It's a great time.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm sure you did have a good time, Bcom.
Oh, you bet I did.
Okay, now Leo, tell me why you liked fucking Blade of the Immortal.
I will after Bcom says his little info.
Oh yeah, so it's Blade of the Immortal. It's streaming on Amazon Prime. It's from a manga, and the studio is Leiden Films. And the director Hiroshi Hamasaki worked on like Technolize and Steins Gate. So
sorry, I just knew that Leo's the one who really liked this of all of us. So I'm like,
yeah, I got to this
yourself.
really late. Yeah, I got to this really late, and I was like comparing it with Dororo the whole time. So I was like, I don't know if I like this as much as that. Basically, is what my thoughts were. So
I kind of like it because the story's pretty straightforward. It's kind of pretty gruesome. I mean, there's like
it's bloody.
So many limbs are chopped off in just the first episode. It's crazy.
Yeah.
There are some things I don't care for, like the arts. It's just it's okay. But the animation actually kind of bothers me a little bit because it does just like lots of like not scene jumping, but like frame jumping. For like mainly like the action stuff. Like it just suddenly cuts. It's him rushing towards the guy, and it just cuts to the guy's arm or leg flying off and blood splattering everywhere. Like it just does a lot of that, and it's like kind of jarring and whatnot. But like I said, the story's pretty simple. It's really easy. There's basically this group of like 30, I think it's like 30 master swordsmen, and they're going around and challenging like every dojo, and they're basically just killing everyone. They're kind of say they're ridding the world of everybody that's that's inferior to them. And they kill this one guy, and then they rape his wife, and then take her away. But they leave the daughter alone, and she wants revenge. So she seeks out like the most powerful bodyguard she can find, and finds this guy named Manji. I think that's him. Yeah, Manji. And Manji actually there's something a little special about him. He apparently has this ability, and he called it like Bloodworm. And it sort of makes him pretty much invincible. Because
it's kind of like a curse, really, more than an ability.
Yeah. But it is called Blade of the Immortal. So like in the beginning, like he gets 2 swords stabbed in the back, and he stands up from that and like slaughters like 100 fucking samurai or something like that.
Jeez.
And then like I said, she finds him and kind of gets to hire him, and they eventually come across one of the swordsmen from that clan or whatever, and he's dressed up. What is that dressed up as? It's a samurai, right? Is there something specific for the name? It's got like the mask, and he's got like these big shoulder pads on and all that fun stuff. And it's kind of interesting because he'd been writing like love letters, like basically poems to that daughter girl. Her name is it's Ren. I think it's Ren Asano. Yeah, that's Ren. So he'd been writing like love letters to her, but his love is he wants to kill her. And then but she like kind of like retaliates back and like causes his mask and like shoulder pads to fall off, and on one of his shoulders is his ex-wife. He's like stitched it to her. On his other shoulder there's her mom, and he's like, oh, I'm gonna kill you, then I'm gonna stitch you to myself. And it's just fucked up.
So this is my thoughts on this. This is why I didn't like it. So like I started out liking it. It's very artistic. It has some interesting like framing of some shots where I had a lot of hope for it. And I thought maybe it would be like a very like traditional Japanese artsy show, and I was really interested in it. Then I got to this part with the weird killing of the wives and stitching them to your shoulders, and it doesn't make any sense. Like, it's not something where you can look at it and go, "Oh yes, this is very artistic and like has meaning to it." It's just bizarre and weird and fucked up. And it really irritated me because it took this anime that had promise and brought it to this point of like, oh, this is just some bullshit. And that really irritated me because it didn't need to be that way. And I'm not sure why they chose to do that.
I want to see these other sword masters. I want to see him fight them, beat them, and see what weird quirks they are. Because if this is the first one, what the fuck are they going to do next?
Well, all I ask is, can't we have a cohesive plot that makes sense? Like, why does it have to be? I don't know. I was
It's very simple. She's seeking revenge for her family being killed, and this
he's
guy,
seeking
he's
people
seeking
stitched to
redemption.
his
Seeking
shoulders.
blood.
No, he's seeking. Manji is seeking redemption.
Well, yeah, that part of it is simple, but I'm just saying the villain in this, and I'm assuming each episode will be a different villain.
I would suppose it's only 13 episodes. So
His
I don't know.
motive does not make sense. Like, they did not flesh him out enough or give him a good enough reason for why he's doing what he did. Like, it doesn't explain why he loved the mom or like why he loves the daughter. It's all just very random.
Yeah.
Well, he was going to have her killed, and then he was going to have her stuffed.
Well, I know, but
And
like,
then
how
he
does
was
he
gonna
know
have him-
her? How does he know like? They needed to elaborate more on this and
Because
flesh
he
it out more
killed
if they were going to do
her
this.
father right in front of her.
Well, I know that, but I'm just saying what he did doesn't make sense. It pisses me off because I'm watching it and I'm like, no, and it irritates me.
I don't think it's really supposed to make sense, Kat.
But it has to, or I'm gonna be angry. The literature major in me demands it. You have to have a plot that it makes sense and is cohesive. I don't know. This anime irritated me a lot. So this
Okay.
yeah. Leo's like, whatever. I just want to see people cut each other apart.
I will probably watch. I have not watched the second episode yet, so I'll probably watch the second and the third, and then decide if I'm going to keep watching it or it gets lost.
Same
somehow or
for me,
whatever.
basically. Yeah, that's where I'm at with it. Before we go on to more anime that irritate us, why don't we take a break since it's about halfway through the episode, and we'll be right
Sure.
back.
Cool.
Peace.
The Trash Pandas bring you this nugget from another trash can. What happens when Brains and Bullets discuss episode 2 of One Punch Man?
Pretty much gene splicing heads. They will,
Yep.
yeah, they will splice genes. They have a cyborg gorilla. They have frog that walks on two legs and communicates at long range. Like they got. You think they
The
splice?
Lion King.
Yeah, they have the lion. They have a f***ing lion, Beast King, and
Simba.
yeah, he's f***ing Simba. I don't mean he's f***ing Simba. I mean he's f***ing Simba.
We at Trash Pandas Watch Anime dig through the trash so you don't have to. You can find the Trash Pandas Watch Anime podcast on iTunes, SoundCloud. You can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter where you'll get live updates from what we do.
Hey, do you like wrestling?
Whether it be in a bar, an arena, some weird place in Asia, or in a stadium?
Or the occasional penis plex?
Well, if any of these things might tickle your fancy, anywhere in between from penises to wrestling, you can come and check out our podcast.
Our podcast name is Smack It Down. We talk all things WWE, New Japan, anything else in between.
I'm Jay Silver,
I'm Corey Gold.
and we look forward to you joining us.
Happy Rusev Day.
Happy Rusev Day indeed.
All right, and we're back with No Guns Life, which, why does this show's name always make me think of No Game, No Life?
Because it has two words, it shares two words with the title of that, and the other word starts with a G. So
Maybe that's something. But like, it really is different enough. It shouldn't make me think of that.
yeah,
but it
it
does.
really shouldn't. It's nothing about it is the same, but yeah, it's streaming on Funimation. It's based on a manga, and it's from Studio Madhouse and director Ito Naoyuki, who directed Overlord seasons 2 and 3, and like Digimon Savers. This is like, in my opinion, one of the better looking things Madhouse has made in recent years, just like in terms of like the quality of like the CGI stuff they do in the backgrounds and like the art and animation. I think it looks pretty solid. And so yeah, it's, even though it's called No Guns Life, that needs a little explanation because the main character of the show is named Juzo Inui.
Oh, Madhouse did do No Game, No Life also.
Yeah, they did.
It's pretty funny.
And so this guy literally has a revolver built into his like metallic head. He is so, okay, in this world there was like a great war, and these weapons were developed by this corporation called Beruren during this war that made like cybernetic or like mechanical extensions for people. And so these people who use these extensions became known as the Extended. And so Juzo is one of those. He was actually something called an overextended because of the degree to which his modifications were made. Like he's like almost not human anymore, I guess. And like he was part of some policy known as like big guns policy. And so like one of the interesting things about him is though he has a big gun on his head, he can't pull his own trigger. He needs like a partner to pull it, but he doesn't trust anyone in the world enough to like pull his gun trigger, essentially. Which obviously sounds like one big metaphor. But
yes, it sounds like his, girl issues. But then again, who doesn't?
The conflict comes when he runs into this like unconscious kid named Tetsuro, who this other Extended is trying to protect from like some authorities who are like related to like the corporation Beruren, who like runs everything now. And he like agrees to hide this kid. But then like this nun named Sister Karen is like, oh, that's an orphanage who like escaped from our orphan. Yeah, sexy. Well, we don't know at first, but like, yes. As soon as like he realizes like this nun is like suspicious and is like trying to get this kid back for like weird reasons, like he sees that like this kid has had like the tendons in his ankles cut, so he can't run away. Like, so that's number one, pretty fucked up.
Yeah.
So like she like throws off her nun habit and just got like sexy like shit on underneath, like big boobs, blah blah blah, hot babe. And she gets into like a gunfight with Juzo, who doesn't use his like head gun, obviously, but still fights back. And so yeah, like she kind of kicks his ass actually and takes Tetsuro back. And then like it turns out though that like the Extended who brought Tetsuro to him in the first place was being remotely controlled by Tetsuro himself, because what the corporation did is they like experimented on this kid and gave him this ability called Harmony, which like, it gives him the ability to like remotely control other Extended. And like if this were to get out, it's like way against the laws that have been made for like extended things and extended people. So like it would bring the whole corporation crumbling down if it were ever to get out. And so yeah, like I kind of like this anime a lot. It's
I like how it
really
looks.
Yeah, it looks great. It's dark and like I think Leo said, it's like kind of gritty.
Gritty, yeah.
It's going for like a film noir feel.
Yeah, I could totally feel that film noir type thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he's like a private investigator, and he has like even like a fucking rotary telephone in his office, and he smokes constantly.
Oh god, so much, and I hate it. It's like they're trying to glorify smoking cigarettes as cool.
Yeah,
see, maybe because I never smoked, like it doesn't bother me as much. It's like, ooh, it's a style choice. But I imagine if you ever did smoke and you're like triggered by that, it would be really hard.
Well, I mean, I didn't smoke, but I hate being around it, and like, I don't want people to think it's cool. So then I got fucking be around you while you're smoking.
Oh, see,
yeah, like
I gave up on that long ago. I have way too many friends who smoke way too much. Like,
yeah, sometimes it's hard to escape from it if you have that many like people in your group doing it. But yeah, like even the second episode, like apparently a lot of people smoke cigarettes in this world who are extended because they're like they have like medicine in them that helps them with their like implants. But he's just like, no, I smoke it because I love the way the fucking cigarettes taste. It's like a cigarette commercial. It's ridiculous. But yeah, like I like that it does some humorous gag stuff too. Like Juzo is kind of like a pervert. And whenever he blushes, his face gets like all blushy and goes cartoony, and it looks a lot like Alphonse Elric from Full Metal Alchemist whenever he does that.
Doesn't it? I did notice that. He's like a secret pervert. Like he always acts like, no, I'm not interested in these things. Nuh-uh. And then like some girl just touches his hand, and he's like, oh my god.
I'm just in my pants.
Yeah.
And then the second episode you meet like another girl, this blonde girl named Mary Steinberg, and she's like a half doctor, half mechanic for extended people.
And she's got these nice little short shorts on. Woo!
Yeah, she's pretty cute, and she just tells them a little bit more about extended. Like, you learn about like how extended have like a sub brain, which is like a mechanical unit that like helps like take the burden off your human brain of controlling all these like mechanical limbs. And like Juzo has one, but it's like inside of him somewhere because he's an older model. Whereas like the new models just have him like right on the back of their neck, which is like in the second episode, he kind of kicks that nun's ass, Karen, by just, and he just like shuts off her like sub brain, which like turns her off basically. So that's like a big flaw. It seems like it must just be cheaper to make them that way. But yeah. Yeah, I kind of like this. I'm interested to see where it's going, and it looks pretty cool. It's directed well, so yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I don't know. As a whole, this wasn't my favorite anime, or even in the top, 10. But I don't hate it. I do think it's interesting. Like if we covered it, I wouldn't die. So
good for you.
We almost killed the cat.
I mean, I'm just saying it's not my cup of tea, but maybe it's someone's. So
yeah.
So this next one, I might die if we cover it.
Well, good luck with that. This is called Stars Align from Funimation, or Hoshiai no Sora. It's an original anime from Studio 8-Bit. And the director, Kazuki Akane, is also credited for doing the script, and he's the original creator of it as well.
Okay, this is a really good show. Leo.
Yeah, I like the show quite a bit.
So
Kat, tell us about it.
It's like, at first it starts out, you're thinking, okay, it's just a normal sports show. It's going to be these kids in this soft tennis club, and they're going to rebuild the club and all this bullshit that you see in all the sports anime. And you're kind of frustrated. But I think what stood out to me in this is how well the characterization of the different boys is. Because I remembered several of the characters' names immediately, which is very rare for me. It usually means that because I always have issues with characters' names, so it usually means that it's a cut above if I can remember a lot of the characters' names from the beginning. And so that stood out to me. And not even just the main two. Like, they do a good job of even the side characters on the team. You get a decent idea of, like, what they're like as characters, even from the first episode. Yep, so it's written well. They're very good at characterization. And then there's a lot going on other than the sports stuff. So
yeah, there definitely is.
Yeah, so like one of the main characters, like you can kind of tell there's something fucked up going on in his family where like his mom doesn't like him and she's like afraid of him or something. And then I also noticed when he breaks up a fight with, I think that character is gay because they're bullying one of the softball boys.
Yeah.
They like immediately leave when he shows up because they're like, no, dude, this guy's crazy. So like, it makes me wonder if he's gotten into some sort of violent episode at some point in his life. And I think they'll get into that later and it should be fascinating. And then the other boy, Maki, his dad is very abusive and they keep moving from house to house. Like they don't even mention that at first. You just know that they keep moving a lot and you don't know why. And you know that his mom is like divorced and a single parent. And it's because I guess the dad keeps following them from place to place and is abusive and steals all their money. And there's some pretty violent stuff in there where he comes and steals the money and like hits him, and it's intense.
It was really intense. Like that was hard to watch actually for me.
Yeah, but I think that combined with the other family, because I definitely think there's going to be some really interesting stuff with that too. It makes me, and plus like even the side character thing of the character who we think might be gay. I think this will be a very interesting anime and something you don't see a lot. And I'm really excited for it. So, yeah, I think this is kind of like a hidden gem. I mean,
yeah, I thought it was interesting, like how Maki is just like he's really athletic. He's never played tennis before, but you can already tell he's going to be like really good on this team. And like Toma, the leader of like the tennis club, is just really frustrated because like the girls team at the school is extremely good and the boys team's always just been bad, and he hates being bad. He wants to get good any way he can. Like he's so desperate that like when like other guys like joke about like paying Maki to play, he's like, yeah, I'm gonna do it.
Well, he even Maki even brings it up like joking. But then it's like, well, this may be a way that I can make money so that even with my father stealing all our shit, like we can still pay our bills. Mm-hmm. And you know, this is an interesting little situation they get into by the end of the second episode. I don't know. I also think it's fascinating the motives of the captain, because I think really the reason he's so caught up in it may be because his brother used to be the captain. But there's definitely, I really want to know what's going on with that family, because obviously the brothers get along, but like the mom is terrified of the son, who like, he doesn't seem scary. So I don't.
Yeah, it's weird, their relationship. Yeah.
I'm almost wondering if she has like mental problems, or like if he really did do something really terrifying, or if she's being unreasonable. I don't. It's fascinating to me, and I'm excited.
I think she has some hang-ups. I think maybe part of this show is about bad parents at the same time, like bad or abusive parents,
and getting through it and moving on and growing. Yeah, and I just think it'll be a really good show. It's like something you don't see a lot. So I'm all on board for this show.
One thing that came up with the show that I want to mention, because it's just kind of interesting, is the ED is like this really cool choreographed dance thing. But apparently some of the choreography in those dances was plagiarized from popular dance videos in Japan. And it was like brought to the attention of the creators, and they were like, oh shit. And then, so now I guess they've properly credited the original choreographers now. By like the third or fourth episode or whatever, like, because this became a pretty big story. But yeah, that was pretty messed up that they just did that without telling those people initially. But at least they've sort of apologized now and properly credited them. I don't know if they've paid them any money, but they've credited them at least.
They probably legally don't have to, I would say. Probably
not. Yeah, I would say it's kind of like the same thing with like Fortnite dances and stuff. So yeah, that's not great, but yeah, I'm interested in this show. Definitely gonna keep watching.
And Leo, you just gotta try to be interested in things that are a little more deep.
I just woke up. What?
Beastars is airing on Netflix, but we don't care.
God damn it.
The source is a manga and Studio Orange, who made Land of the Lustrous, and from director Shinichi Matsumi. So Beastars. First things first, I just gotta get this out of the way. Fucking Draft Girl's design freaks me out. What the fuck, Draft Girl? Like when she like bends her head over, it's so to like talk at the level of like the other girls. It's really weird and freaky, and that's like my only hang up with the show. Everything else is great.
See, I didn't even notice that much. I was like, whatever.
I was just like, this is strange. So all of these people go to this school called the Cherryton School, and it's like populated by herbivore and carnivore like animal people who are the students that are trying to coexist with each other. But as you might imagine, some things go wrong. The first episode sort of starts when this alpaca named Tem, who is a member of like the school drama club, is murdered and eaten on campus by a carnivore. Yeah. So one of the main characters is Lugosi. He's a wolf man. He kind of comes off scarier than maybe he actually is at first. He intimidates this girl named Els. But like the reason that he kind of was just like looking at her intently is because he wanted to give her this love letter that Tem, who's the alpaca who died, had written for her but never gave to her. And so she kind of apologizes to him for being like wary of him. Another big main character is this deer named Lewis, who is like, he's like, you find out by episode 2, is kind of like the beast star. Like he is like the star of the school, the star of the drama club, and everybody kind of like likes him. The girls like look up to him and like fangirl out.
Yep.
But the other real main character is this rabbit girl named Haru, who is like bullied by her roommates and like all other like bitchy like rabbit girls at the school, animal girls, mostly because guys find her attractive and want to sleep with her, and they're jealous.
The other
I
girls
think
are just jealous.
I thought the characterization a lot of these was interesting. Like you talked about how the deer guy,
Lewis,
yeah, he comes off as an asshole. Although, like, I think it's half and half. Like, he is an asshole, but also he has good qualities where you start to be like, oh, okay, I admire that about him.
Right.
And then I really like Haru as a character because she's, like, you can tell she's kind of sweet in a lot of ways and a loner and, like, kind of nerdy and sticks to herself and loves plants. But then also she likes to sleep around and she does her own shit and like doesn't give a fuck what people think. I love it. I love Haru as a character.
Yeah, and she's like kind of sick and tired of like guys like wanting to like white knight for her and protect her.
But really just because they want to fuck her.
Yeah, they just want to hit it and quit it, and then she's sick and tired of that shit.
Yeah, it's like just be honest about it if you're gonna do it that. And I like that she's like, I don't know. I really and I like the switch off. So like in the first episode you're thinking, oh, all these rumors about her are wrong and like look how good of a person she is, blah blah blah. And then they kind of jump it on you like, oh, but really she does like to sleep around. But like they make it in a way where it's just part of her character and it doesn't it's interesting. I like it. I don't know. I thought it's a fascinating kind of world.
Have you said much about how there's like a divide between the herbivores and carnivores?
Not much yet,
and that's
but it's
really
definitely
what's
like
kind
there,
of fueling a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Well, and also I'm glad that they brought up like what the carnivores are eating, because for the first episode I was like, what the fuck are they eating?
Same thing. Because we have Haru, she has like a vegetable soup, so we're like, what are the carnivores eating? I wrote that in my notes. One of the weird things about the first episode was like, I was like, this was kind of bringing me out of the show, was like, I was stunned by the lack of faculty in this school.
Yeah, there's like no teachers around, barely.
Kids are getting away with throwing mattresses out of a window. There's no fucking way that could happen on any school grounds here in the United States without a faculty member finding out.
Somebody would notice, probably.
Well, sometimes faculty members don't give a shit if students are getting bullied. They just
if somebody's been murdered on campus, wouldn't all students be banned to be outside after dark?
I did wonder about that. I was like, okay, someone got murdered. They're treating this very nonchalantly. Like,
yeah.
It almost makes me wonder, do people get murdered a lot in this society or something? Because it was almost like, oh, well, that happened. Let's all move on with our lives. Like,
yeah, it's pretty quick.
It's bizarre.
To go with the thing about like Haru not being exactly what she seems like, there's a lot of that with Lugosi, the wolf guy too.
Yeah.
Where he has these like, I guess I would describe him as like latent animal instincts. Like he catches
Urges.
like Haru's scent at the end of episode 1 and like pounces on her. And then like in the beginning of episode 2, he's trying to like control himself as like this sort of like ghostly apparition of his own like desire to just like be a carnivore and eat this rabbit, is trying to like egg him on to do it, and he eventually only stops himself because like he gets interrupted. And yeah, so he's dealing with that, and like Lewis kind of understands that he's more powerful than he lets on, and because there's like a fight in the cafeteria, and like
again,
Lugosi
where are the faculty?
Not in the cafeteria, I guess. I don't know. They're not. Yeah, they're in their office, I guess. I have no idea. But yeah, so that's kind of funny that all this stuff gets to go down and all these things play out, and there's nobody stopping them.
No wonder somebody got murdered. Faculty sucks.
Yeah, and then like Haru doesn't remember what Lugosi did to her in episode 1, or at least she doesn't let on that she does, and like he has to like go get some flowers from her for like the play that's going on, and they end up in like a shed, and he just wants to like communicate with her. He just wants to keep talking with her because he feels so awkward about what happened, and he can't form words because he's just an awkward guy. And like the longer he stays silent, the more she's like, He just wants what everybody else wants. And so she starts like taking her clothes off, and she and, like by the end of episode like 2, she's like stripped naked basically in front of him, and like she's like, let's do this, and he's like, wait, what's happening? So yeah, it's really weird and interesting. I like it a lot. I think the soundtrack is really good. I also love the OP, which
that's pretty popular.
Yeah, it's like a stop motion thing of like dolls of like Haru and Legoshi like running around and like chasing each other and then dancing together. It's really well done. And I think there's also like a different ending every episode that goes along with like what happened that episode, which is also
really?
like a sign of like a lot of like tryhardness from this studio. So yeah, I'm pretty impressed by what they're putting out with this one.
Well, yeah, and it makes sense with the studio. Like, of course, they worked hard on it and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can, and well, you already said, but you can definitely tell this is pretty much the same team that did Land of the Lustrous.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Which, god damn it, I want more Land of the fucking Lustrous.
Yeah, I want more of that too.
Where the hell
Hopefully
is
they'll
that?
make that.
You bitches.
Maybe after this, hopefully. I would hope. I really would love to see more. Because that cliffhanger. Oh, come on.
I know.
Make more, please. All right. So speaking...
Land of Lustrous is sourced from a manga, so there's got to be more out there.
Oh, yeah, there's more. Yeah. Speaking of getting more of what you want, Psycho-Pass Season 3 is airing on Amazon Prime. Of course, it's original, though it's like a continuation, obviously. And it's Production IG working on it again.
And speaking of CGI crews, you can see it's the CGI crew from Running with the Wind is working on this.
Wait, what did you think? What specifically about the CGI made you think that, though? I was curious.
The moment I saw it, it almost was just like a scene out of Run with the Wind when they would do the CGI running and stuff like that.
Okay, yeah.
I was just like, with like the people walking or whatever it was, I was like, wow.
I didn't think it looked like too bad. I don't know. I guess there were like a couple moments in there that I was like, that's a little interesting. For most part, it looks like decent Production IG stuff, but
yeah, I didn't think it was too bad at all. I thought there was a lot of pretty boys.
Yes, there are definitely more pretty boys this time.
Yeah, they're like, all right, we need more of these. This seems like a good bet.
Well, it's also weird that the episodes are 45 minutes each.
Yeah, there's only going to be 8 episodes, but they're all double length. So it's kind of like a 16 episode series almost, but not really. Yeah, I kind of didn't like this first episode. I was having a trouble like pinning down why though. So there's 2 new detectives, just 2 guys. One of them has this ability through extreme empathy to do a mental trace on people. Basically, he can sort of like become them for all intents and purposes and like understand what they would have chosen to do in a given situation.
Yep.
Which obviously helps as a detective in figuring out what the fuck people did to lead to whatever happened. And so I don't know, these guys like go around trying to solve this mystery of like this crashed drone transport plane, and like what the hell happened, why it crashed, and why there's a guy missing from the plane.
So I have a really short summary of this. Basically, it starts off with a large drone transport ship crashing into the waters with like immigrants on board. One person was released from their sleep and dropped out the back of the plane and killed. They're trying to figure out why. And this starts the story of the 2 new detectives investigating the crash and finding out this person was intentionally killed. And then it just goes from there. Yeah, and then
besides all that, like, there's like these people in the background so there's like these 3 powerful people that are sitting at like this weird like cyber poker table, and they're just like, let's play a game with the power of the fucking universe. Blah, 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 blah.
I can't remember exactly what that thing is. I think it popped up in like season 2, but it's like a it's like a stock exchange game. It's weird.
Yeah, exactly. And so they're like they're sort of like, you get the feeling that these detectives are just pawns in their game. And even once you find out like who the villain is, because like they figure out that somebody who was filming the flight going down, the crash, must have known that it was going to crash because of the way it was filmed.
Yeah, he had like the perfect exact angle.
Yeah, so he knew it was going down, and so this guy clearly orchestrated the crash or was involved. And so like he even has this like girl who's on his computer, like some hacker girl, and he's just kind of like laughing as like these detectives get closer to their trail. And so like the whole time you're just like, because you know so much about like what the villains are doing, it feels like a little bit of a, I don't know, like they've drawn the like curtains too fast. Like you want like the mystery to be behind the curtains for most of the show, not just like out in the open. Like with Psychopaths 1, it was so interesting to like know that there's somebody out there who's doing all this shit, but not to know who they are or what they look like or what their intentions are. And then slowly they get revealed, and it's like, oh my God, this is really interesting why he's doing this, why he's trying to take down the Sybil system, all this stuff. I don't know. There's a couple of returning characters. There's Shion, who's like the blonde lesbian analyst who's really hot. She's back. And then like Akane shows up at the very end of episode 1 just to be like, I'm passing the torch to these new guys.
No, she's in the very beginning too.
Yeah, she's in the very beginning of the episode as well.
She's
like,
basically kind of like narrating
things.
The story.
Yeah.
And she's locked away in like a like an apartment type cell, I guess.
Yeah, and it's like, these are the new generation of inspectors who will carry on my legacy kind of thing.
Yep.
It's all like pretty polished, but I wasn't really hooked by the first episode for like the reasons I mentioned about the villains, basically. That was my main drawback. So I don't know. Like, I'll keep watching it because it's pretty short, even though it's double length. It's like only 8 episodes long, so I'll definitely check it out. Yeah.
Cool. I still like it. I'm still going to keep watching it. I think it's too far into it, and we haven't covered the rest of the, seasons before this.
Yeah.
It might be a little complicated for us to try and cover it.
Well, it's interesting. There was season 2, and then there's like 3 movies that like lead into this season. So yeah, which I have not seen. So,
Jesus.
I don't know how important it is to see those movies or not. I'll try and give them a watch when I can, but yeah. Another one that is like a sequel and it makes it harder to enjoy is True Cooking Master Boy.
Is it really a sequel though?
Yes,
I don't think
100%.
it is.
Oh no, it's a sequel.
What
100%
is it a sequel to?
Cooking Master Boy.
No, I think it's a redo.
No, because throughout episode 1, they are referring to all of these things that have happened already.
Okay, because when they originally announced this anime, they said it was a redo of Cooking Master Boy, and I was really excited because Cooking Master Boy is like one of the classic food animes, but it's an old anime, and so I was like, oh, it'll be great. It'll be like a redo. I can watch it and not have to watch the old anime.
See, I think it's definitely a sequel because like he has like his 2 companions already, like Meili and Shiro, and then there's like this guy who shows up who's like, oh, the last time we fought, blah 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 happened.
That's true. That's true.
There's like all these things that are just like, oh, this has all happened.
The synopsis starts off as after passing the Guangzhou Special Chef trials. Is that what happened in the first one?
Okay, I guess so.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
And that kind of disappoints me because I was excited. I've always wanted. It's been on my list to watch Cooking Master Boy, but it's like I said, older, and it just seemed like a lot. I would say
that's from like 1997, 98. Yeah,
I would say Food Wars is a better cooking anime. This is more straightforward and like no funniness. It's just very much like, this is the thing that we're covering today, and like this is the recipe. And
it's very earnest. Like
yeah.
They go to this village that's known for cooking chickens, and then they help this woman out who owns a restaurant, but they only raise these chickens with like black feathers, and they brought like
what would be another name? There's so many jokes you could make about this. There's really a lot.
The black sheep of chicken. I don't know.
The black cocks.
Oh, that's God. Where you're going. I see. Okay.
Sorry, I had to do it because come on. But yeah, they're basically like, isn't the meat even black?
Yeah, it's weird. Like they're dyed black entirely. Like their skin is black and everything.
I guess they're very like sickly because it talks about how the guy like died trying to take care of them.
Basically.
Which I'm kind of like, well, even if they're very sickly, I don't think that you'll die trying to take care of them. But okay, dramatic much.
And so like the Cooking Master Boy is like moved by this story, and like he was just like happy that they took the three of them in and gave them some food. So he's like, oh, I will cook for you in this like chicken cooking competition using your chickens and prove that they're just as good as any other chickens. And so like, yeah, then it turns into like Food Wars where it's like, you know, panel of 3 judges judging like the dishes and like reacting like their socks got blown off. But it just doesn't have any of the charm of Food Wars.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah, like it's just missing the humor and the charm and the hot babes and the hot dudes from Food Wars and all of their arrogance and everything, you know.
Yeah, I still might watch it just because I love food anime. They're one of my favorites. But I was slightly disappointed. I wasn't like overly like it's still a good anime and it's still a food anime, so I'll probably watch it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not what I wanted it to be.
Yep, pretty much.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to case file number 221, Kabukicho, which is a really weird name for a Sherlock Holmes show. It's on Funimation, and it's an original, and also, I guess Production IG is also working on this one. The director, Ai Yoshimura, she directed Oregairu Season 1 and Blue Spring Ride. So that's a pretty good track record, actually. Those are 2 good shows. But this show's bad, in my opinion. I don't like this show. John Watson goes looking for Detective Sherlock Holmes because he's been having weird things happen to him. That's all we find out in like the first like episode or 2 about Watson. But before he can tell Holmes like what's going on, they get wrapped up in this murder case that may or may not involve Jack the Ripper. In this anime, Sherlock Holmes is kind of this like disheveled kind of clown person. I feel like he's just kind of a joke. He, along with some other detectives, work for this rich lounge singer who's like either cross-dressing or trans and is like very stereotypically like a beard. Their name is Miss Hudson. And then so this woman is murdered, and like Holmes is like prowling around the crime scene, and it's like surprisingly dark because this woman was murdered and her genitals were cut out, and like there's blood spread all over the floor, and then like Holmes just like comically tiptoeing around the scene trying to find clues, and it's like this is fucking weird. And then I guess like the big hook is that Sherlock Holmes, in order to like sort of devise his findings and like make it clear, does like shitty Rakugo performances where he just like says like he plays all the parts. This is kind of inventive, and I think because it's like a good way of like Holmes like doing his theatrics. And like, but the problem with all of this is that like the person who did this murder, the person who committed this murder, no one could have figured this out except for Holmes in this show. Like nobody watching could have figured this out because there just weren't enough clues. The person who did it like wasn't like introduced until like way later in the episode.
No, not until they
figured out it was him.
Yeah.
And so it's just like the assistant of this like nightclub manager who did it because he was like taking the girls who were like applying to work at the club and who got rejected and like stepping in and just like pretending that he was going to do something for them. And so like he actually just like accidentally kills this girl as he was trying to rape her and she fought back.
The old fall backwards and hit your head on the corner of a desk.
Yeah, on the corner of the dresser. And then he's like, well, I have to make it look like it's not me. So he makes the crime scene look like Jack the Ripper did it. And it's like, Jesus, how fucked up are you?
Yeah.
The show also has like some weird stereotypical portrayals of like queer characters, like one of the nightclub managers, and then like the lounge singer that just rubbed me kind of the wrong way. And I was just like, this is weird. And yeah, for me, like the whole Sherlock Holmes part of this kind of sucks too. So then I'm just left with like, I don't know what part of this I'm supposed to like anymore. The Rakugo? I don't know. It just didn't work for me.
Yeah, I think I had a problem also with like the trans people in the show. They were just like really, I don't know, not shown in the greatest of light.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, and Holmes' skills are just like on the level of like Supernatural, and
at that
not
point
that
it's
cool.
not really fun. Yeah. there's always like a fine line to walk with Sherlock Holmes, because like you want him to seem super, super smart, but you also want the audience to feel like, oh, I could have put that together if I was as smart as Holmes.
Yeah, but that's not there at all.
Yeah, no, it just happens and it's bad. Anywho.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of... Okay, so...
You ready for this one, Kat? I'll introduce this next show, Chidori RSC. Also named like Rifle is Beautiful, or that's how it was known a lot before it aired. But yeah, High Dive is calling it Chidori RSC, which is like the name of their school. So anyway, like this is a source from a 4-Koma manga. The studio is 3 Hertz, who did like, Princess Principal and Black Fox recently. And the director, Masanori Takahashi, directed like When Supernatural Battles Become Commonplace, stuff like that. So I really was bummed out by this show. Like the first 7 minutes of the show I really disliked, because this is like a sports show, right? And it's got all of these like slice of life 4-girl moe show tropes. But the introduction to this is like so half-assed, because it's basically like the girls just meet each other and they're like, hey, I'm interested in shooting rifles, but we need 4 people to start a club. And then like they just easily find all 4 girls and they're like, oh yeah, let's do it. And it's just like they just skip the whole part where you're like supposed to like introduce the girls and explain like why they want to be part of this club and like struggle to find members. And they're just like, no, let's just get to it. And I was just like, that seemed a little too easy. And then they just get to like the locker room scenes where they take the main character who looks like she's 12 and show us that her breasts are bigger than the others thought. And I was just like, oh God. And then, but okay, the worst part of this show is the actual sport. Because it's like shooting, right? It's shooting rifles, but they're just like laser rifles that they can just like shoot in a classroom and against like a target. And it's just like the most boring thing to watch ever. And even the show admits it's boring, because in episode 2, they stop shooting and they go play fucking softball already by episode 2, because softball is a better sport than fucking shooting. And I was just like, I'm done. This is so bad. Yeah, I don't know. Did you guys watch any of this? Like, it was just so bad.
Not
She's
really.
like, it just looked bad on the surface, so I was just like, I'm passing.
Yeah.
I
mean, if you just look at the rating, I don't know. Where is this at right now? I remember seeing it was really bad.
Yeah, it was pretty low the last time I looked, because it just really wasn't doing anything interesting. And it's not fleshing out the characters in any interesting way. None of the characters really grabbed me. They all just seemed like generic tropes.
It's at a 5.7.
Oh, that's really low for Mal. Holy shit.
Yeah. So.
Yikes. Yeah. Yeah, it just doesn't do anything well. So I understand that score.
Yeah. Okay.
On the other hand.
So Leo and I have decided that we should cover this and then let you cover it.
Did you decide this?
We discussed this before you got here.
I will shut the fuck up,
this.
and you can go ahead then. Well, actually, can I just say what the show is from, like the directors and stuff?
Sure.
Chihayafuru Season 3, airing on Crunchyroll. Source is a manga. The studio is Madhouse, and the director, Morio Asaka, did the previous seasons of Chihayafuru, also Cardcaptor Sakura, Chobits, Gunslinger Girl, Nana, My Love Story, and the Aoi Bungaku series, episodes 1 through 4. He's a fucking great director. He's probably my favorite director. And yeah, you guys take it away, what you thought, what you watched going into this. And yeah, tell me.
So, okay, Leo, what is this anime about? Like, what is the plot of this? Because we're trying to do this in an unbiased way, because Bcom will just gush his undying love of this show.
So, I watched the very first episode of season 1, and then the very first episode of season 3. It's funny because the very first episode of season 3 has scenes from the fucking first episode.
It does, yeah. It goes back to that stuff.
That's in there. And they play this game that I've forgotten the name of.
Is it Karuta?
Yes.
Is that what I don't know what Karuta is, but I know that the show is about a Karuta club.
That's something about listening to poems, and then you've got to find the card that has the next line on it or something like that, and slap it away. And I don't know. They didn't really explain it in those 2 episodes.
Well, they do a brief explanation of it in season 3, episode 1. Like,
yeah. So, and like she's making friends, and I will come back to our main character Chihaya. But first, as anybody would guess, I'm bored with this show. I was bored with tears. There's like a line in the first episode of season 3 that says, "I listen for the pitch of the second syllable." I'm just like, what the fuck are you talking about? That is insane. And I'm pretty sure I figured out what has this show hooked, and it's Chihaya. And it's because she's a bit of an airhead when she's not playing this game. And Bcom just wants to protect her.
See, Bcom
and that's what the selling point is.
Weakness.
He sees this. Yes, he sees Chihaya.
He has a weakness for girls who are very cute and very stupid.
A little bit helpless too. Yeah. Bcom's like, I will be there for you. I will protect you night and day. That's what he wants to be. And Chihaya fills that role so well.
So do you think that this is like do you think this is kind of like March Comes in Like a Lion, where you will never like it because it's a kind of show that you don't like, but it actually does have plot? Or do you think this is like an airhead show that doesn't have plot and has cute girls?
I never watched March Comes in Like a Lion.
I know you didn't, but
I will say March Comes in Like a Lion is more intensely focused on characters than Chihayafuru is. Chihayafuru is a little bit more focused on the sport of like karate.
I'd say they're really focused on the characters from the 2 episodes I watched.
Yeah, so you watched some pretty character-heavy episodes of the show.
Really caught up on other people's opinions and being nice to other people in both those episodes.
That's true. Like what you have missed is there's some like long tournament arcs of them like playing karate and stuff, and yeah. So like there's a lot of focus on the sport itself.
I gathered that from that first episode in season 3 because there's like lots of scenes of that because she's like reminiscing about it, and I'm trying not to fall asleep.
See, so this really also depends on if you can get into the sport. Okay, that's kind of tough too.
Well, so I will say season 1 does a really, really good job of explaining why the sport is interesting and why you should get into it. Because like as they learn more and more and more about what makes somebody a good karate player and how they can use their specific skills to become good at it, you become invested in them getting better at the sport. And that's what the show does so well, is it gets you invested in in the main characters and also like the members of the team at the school that they built, and how they help each other become better and how they become good friends, and like how they learn to love this sport and just are crazy about it and like give it their all. And it's really fun.
She's really obsessive about it.
Yeah, she's like completely obsessed, and I fully admit Chihaya is a huge airhead, and I do love her.
Do you hear like the happiness in his voice as he says that?
I heard it. I heard that tone in the second syllable.
He's like, she's an airhead. Yeah, no, that's good.
He squealed a little.
No, it's funny because like I don't like girls who are airheads when they're just like fucking stupid and they have no talent. What I like is somebody who's like super talented at something, but then her airheadedness is like the thing that makes her moe. Basically, it's like her shortcoming. Like even in the first episode of Chihaya, or is it the third episode? It's the first or third episode. Sorry, first or fourth episode of the series. She's putting posters up on like a wall, and she's just wearing track pants. And like a
because
teacher's
she was
like,
told
"What are you doing?"
Not to hang posters with just her skirt on and.
Yeah,
and then she like goes to try to take them off there, and the teacher's like, "Don't do that here."
Exactly. She has like no self-awareness. She's crazy, and she's completely single-minded about whatever she's doing.
Tom is so in love with her.
That's why I admire her in some ways.
I think it was that scene that was like, I see why Bcom likes his show. It's got his damn little cute girls he likes.
I mean, a lot of people like this show for the cute guys, though. Like a lot. Because this is a josei manga originally, and like a lot of people are invested in this show because either they think Taichi or Arata should end up with Chihaya at the end of the show, which is very well developed over the first 2 seasons, and in season 3 is really starting to hit its stride because
Taichi definitely has a crush on her. For sure.
They both do. Taichi more explicitly, but Arata for sure has a crush on her as well. She is oblivious mostly. She is close with both of them. She views them both as like really close friends and as like rivals in Karata. And so like the end I want is just for them to all be friends forever and like for them to love Karata and just get along. That's not the end most people want. Most people are like bloodthirsty wanting Taichi or Arata to win, and they're in their camp, and that's it. I also really love the side characters, some of whom you haven't met, Leo. There's the queen of Karata, who's like the current champ, is a girl who is just like so weird and eccentric, and I think you would really like her a lot.
Shinobu?
Shinobu, yes, that's her, Wakamiya. And one of the things that's really good about this show, it's kind of like how Haikyuu is good as a sports anime, is that it really gets you invested even in the rivals that they face, like in the opposing team's players and what their motivations are and where they're coming from. So like as the tournaments go on, like you see the same players again and again, and you know their history with playing these people, and you know what they're good at, and you know that they have to overcome certain things. And so you get so invested in these people, not just the ones that you're rooting for, not just Chihaya's team, but everyone, and like how they're making progress or overcoming obstacles and stuff. It's really good. It's really well written. And season 3 is, I think, the best looking the show has ever been. Season 1 and 2 had some drops in animation quality. It just looked bad at times. Season 3 looks really polished. I really like some of the transitions they've been doing between scenes. Like they'll have some like flowers float by the screen, and it just looks really nice. They do some really great CG with like the cards like flying around the mat, like slapping into the walls and stuff and spinning in midair. It looks better than it ever has. The soundtrack is still really good. They brought back the original composer, who I love the original soundtrack of Chihayafuru. It's fantastic. And yeah, I'm just really so invested in these characters now, and I could talk about them forever. So yeah, I think if you want, I think you guys should catch up with the first 2 seasons when you have a chance, because they are really, really good. And I think, Leo, you'll become more invested in the show by watching some of the past seasons, because some of the stuff that I think you want is in there. It just takes a little bit.
I just don't like, because it's like what, 26 episodes, season 1 and season 2.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
it's a lot of episodes.
Some catch up to do, and I wouldn't mind that. I'm just sort of like hesitant. And I think a lot of people who are new to this series felt the same way. So that's why I thought Leo and I should kind of cover it a little bit, so it didn't feel.
Oh, yeah, no, that's totally fine. That makes sense.
Yeah, but I don't know. I guess if it ends up being your lock or whatever, I'll kind of have to. But it kind of. We'll see.
You could take your time with it, because like I know the series back and forth. I've watched it a bunch of times. So if you ever have a question, I'm here. I know what's going on.
Our resident expert.
Oh my god!
I'm a moderator on the Chihayafuru subreddit. I'm on the Chihayafuru Discord.
Oh god!
I know everything there is to know about the show. One of the highlights of AnimeNYC for me was there is a booth for the Karata NYC club or whatever, and there were people there playing Karata on the map, and I got on their email list, and so I might go check out some Karata at some point when they're playing. They're trying to get new members of this club now, because I guess during the Tokyo Olympics in 2020, there's going to be a big international Karata tournament. And so they're trying to get like American players good enough to compete in that tournament, which is a pretty cool thing, I think.
I see this happening, Kat. Bcom goes, I can't record that night, guys, because I got Karata
I gotta fly
practice.
to Tokyo and become the best. I gotta become the master of Karata. No, you have to know Japanese pretty well, I feel like, to get this. Because like when you were talking about like the syllables, Leo, it's like, yeah, it's the different intonations and the syllables of the words in these 100 Japanese poems are anything that you can tell about them that would make them out from another word is like the difference in speed you need to win at this game. It gets pretty intense. So yeah, it's cool. It's a cool sport that combines like intellectual thinking with actual athleticism and like lightning fast reflexes. It's pretty awesome. So yeah.
It sounds like it. Okay, but like, yeah. So I just wanted to cover that a little. I think a lot of these other shows, I don't know if we need to go into the this
details.
current, yeah. We've got, I think we just need to debate a little bit on each other's lists before we get into what our picks will be, like based on our lists, and like also these last few shows. So these 3 shows here that we're going to briefly mention, they're shows that are so, like, they're ongoing and long running, and they're so like prominent that like everyone is either watching them or they're not. They know what they're doing with it. You know what I mean? Like My Hero Academia has a season this season.
Season 4, yeah.
Yeah. That is the top show of the season, and I think it's irresponsible for us not to cover it. I know your thought on it, Bcom, but I think it's dumb, and I think that in the end, this
I think
is
the
a
show
good
is
show.
dumb, so there we go.
Well, I don't. I think that's a little biased.
Maybe
It has some things about it that are dumb, but in general, it is a very good anime.
I would have agreed with that back in season 1. I thought it was still really good, but since then it's been dropping bit by bit in my mind in a lot of different areas. But yeah, it's still My Hero Academia. Like, yeah, there's a new villain.
Yeah, it's also one of the mangas I read, and it's one of the ones where like the speech bubbles get so long-winded that every time when a new chapter comes out, I just kind of scroll and I just look at the pictures and then like read the last
pictures.
And I read the last couple of panels, and I really didn't miss anything.
Do you remember the villain Overhaul, Leo? Does he like even blip on your radar? Do you remember him?
What'd he do?
I don't know what he does yet because he's just been introduced, but he has like a beak on his face. He seems to be butting heads with the previous villain with like the hands.
Ooh, I like the hands
Tomura
dude.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I remember him.
Okay, yeah.
But
so yeah, he's the new big bad guy.
Yeah, and I think it's still really good. I don't know. I think you're a little too harsh on it, and I definitely think that we should cover it because duh.
Well, if you want to cover it, you have a way to make sure that happens.
You're such a little brat, Bcom.
But, I mean,
I
like,
don't even know what to tell you.
That's how it's gonna. That's legitimately the way it's gonna happen. Like if you
You're
feel
like
that
a
strongly
mule.
about it.
Like you have to acknowledge that this is a well-made show. And
No,
that this
I
is
don't.
The show.
I don't have to acknowledge
okay,
that.
that's dumb though, because like look at this, like the staff on this goddamn show. You
I know,
damn
it's
well
Studio
know.
Bones. Studio
you
Bones
damn
is good.
well know that this is a fucking well-made show, even if you personally don't like
it is
the
a
show.
well-made show of a badly written manga,
That's so
which has gone
dumb.
downhill. That's how I feel about it at this point. Like,
oh my god! But
once they-
what
they-
was your
I don't
pick? Your original pick last season?
Demon Girl Next Door, great show.
So how is this? Like, I feel like this is just your stubbornness, Bcom. Really,
It might be some of my stubbornness. Like, hey, if you lock this, I will 100% be happy to watch it. Like, I'm gonna watch all of My Hero Academia anyway. I've come this far. Like, I'm not gonna stop watching it. I liked the movie quite a bit.
Like, what is? I just don't understand this. I don't understand this block. It's dumb. It's childish.
Oh, come on, just drop it, Cat. It's not going to change.
Also, there's Food Wars, which I personally think is a good. This season is not that amazing.
It's been okay so far. I don't know. I've enjoyed it.
There's a few okay ones, but there's not enough for us not to pick up continuing shows.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, Food Wars is always a good one. It's not one where like the backstory has to be explained in like great detail, and like you can always talk about the recipe. It's fun. It's usually, at least the plot is really good. Sometimes the animation is like bleh, depending on who's taking it that season.
Yeah.
But the plot is always really good. So
yeah, they're in the middle of like this big, tournament arc right now, and that's been kind of fun to watch.
It's just one tournament after the next, I swear to God.
Well, but that's what makes it fun. It's like they make the food and we drool over the food, and yeah, I like it. And then of course Sword Art Online is somehow still alive. This is like a zombie anime at this point.
It just won't die.
Yeah.
I feel like they resurrected it after like season 2, and everyone wanted it to be good, and they were excited, and then it just wasn't. It wasn't at all, and it's still there, but like it's just a rotting corpse of what it
might
once
actually
was.
be good now because like Kirito's in like a coma, so he can't fuck things up.
I don't know.
I really dislike the first half of Alicization, though. I actually have not watched any of this yet. I'm going to watch a couple episodes, but I think that might be it, because if it doesn't hook me, I'm just going to drop it. All I know is that I think Asuna is more heavily involved in this part of the season, and I like Asuna a lot in Sword Art Online, so maybe that will make me like it, and the fact that Kirito is like in a coma, just not doing anything, apparently sounds good to me.
See,
So
the
we'll
idea
see.
of watching any more of the show at this point, with how bad Alicization was at the beginning, is sort of like me reaching into a garbage can and like picking up some
That's
like
the thing.
half-rotting food and like trying to eat it and like making a face, and that's kind of how I feel about that right now.
Yeah, I don't have any faith in this to get better.
Yeah, maybe I'm wrong, but and then also there's Grand Blue Fantasy, which I don't think any of us watch.
I have not.
I was thinking about maybe watching it, but I never got around to it, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's not. It's also not as popular as all the other continuing shows. So
Big popular mobile game, but anime is not as popular. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so that's what we got going. Is like really, I think we should be picking up at least a few of these continuing shows, because the season is not strong enough for us not to be. But also there are a lot of different ways to go on which continuing shows to do, because we have those that we just mentioned, and then we also have Vinland Saga, we also have Legend of Galactic Heroes, we also have Dr. Stone, which, although I will say, like, Dr. Stone, I think towards the end of last season, it got a little monotonous covering it. Not that it's not a good show, but we weren't having as much fun covering it. So
That's fair. I envision like things are going to happen in that show. Like they have to happen.
well, yeah. Things will still happen, but I'm not. I'm gonna still keep watching it. I don't know if we need to cover it.
Okay.
But we may still. So I think that's kind of the debate here, is like which continuing shows are we going to do, which new shows, because there's really not that many good new shows. So there's a few,
that's
but
what we got to vote for. Let's
Yeah.
find out.
So do we want to like take a break and iron out the order and then come right back?
Mine's not moving.
Okay, I'm just making sure. Kat, are you going to change anything in your order?
no, I'm good.
Oh, then we can go ahead and do
Okay.
this. So,
So
I can
Leah-
explain this or whatever.
Okay, well, I want to. Okay, you can explain it first, but then I think we're gonna read our lists, and then we can all, the rest of us can like pick at.
Sure.
picks.
Oh, absolutely.
I think that would be entertaining, especially with like how different our things are. So, okay, go ahead. First, explain.
So for this fall season, Kat, Lou, and I are going to watch 8 shows together again. 5 of these shows are ones that we're going to choose right now by consensus vote. Like the highest vote getters, or like, I guess in this case, the lowest cumulative vote is like, because they're ranked votes, are the ones that'll win. Then we each get one show that we can lock, meaning that our co-hosts, even if they didn't really want to watch that show, are now going to watch it. And they won't have to do reviews of it, like all the other shows we do rotating reviews of. They will just be asked to watch and give their thoughts while the person who locked it reviews each episode. And so, yeah, if we like feel like we made a mistake on any show at mid-season, we can drop the show. Only the person who, if you want to drop a locked show, only the person who locked the show can decide to drop it. If they want to keep continuing it, even if the other two just hate it, they can. Though usually we're pretty like decent about that. We don't just want to put our friends through hell. And also, if our listeners,
shoujo Machiavellianism.
no, you were only putting me through hell back then, so it was fun. It was honestly kind of amusing anyway. So, yeah, if our listeners really want us to be covering something that we dropped, or just let us know on Twitter or on Discord what your thoughts are, and we definitely take that into consideration around mid-season. So, let us know. And with that, we can get into our individual top picks. Why don't we list them off from 10 to 1, our top 10, starting with Leo.
All right, number 10, Cautious Hero. Number 9, Special 7. Now, I actually want to switch those, but it's whatever. 8, Beastars. 7,
Yay.
Blade of the Immortal. 6,
Okay.
Dr. Stone. Number 5, No Guns Life. Number 4,
Cool.
Psychopaths 3. Number 3, Kimono Michi Rise Up.
Why?
Love that show. Love
Well,
that
it's
show.
like, it's like Konosuba, and Leo loves Konosuba,
Yep.
so I get that.
I tried
Yeah.
explaining
Yeah.
this to her earlier. I'm like, I love Konosuba, so I'm loving this show.
I don't understand. Okay.
Number 2 is Vinland Saga, and
Right.
at number 1 is Oresuki.
Wow, you really, really like Oresuki. That's cool. Yeah.
I mean, I like it. So
I think it's just
I
doing
think it's
some
good.
stuff really interesting, and that it's very different from other shows.
It's in my
So-
top 10. I'm just like, that's pretty cool. That's high. Cool that it's your number 1 show of the season. I think that's interesting. All right, so I'll do my 10. My number 10 is Oresuki. It just made it in
it's a
there.
little low, but okay.
Number 9, Legend of Galactic Heroes,
Also-
Dinoya Tiz.
Also a little low. I don't know why you guys have it so low on both of yours.
I don't even have it on mine.
Yeah, Leo doesn't have it.
I know. I'm like, what the fuck?
I'll say it. I have it lower than other shows because this list is mostly ranked in order of things I really want to talk about. And we talked about like the first season of Legend of Galactic Heroes, and we covered that in depth. And I feel like that's kind of enough for people who want to know whether they should go watch this show or if they should go watch the original, which they absolutely should watch the original.
They should watch both.
They should watch
Yeah.
both. Yeah. Because this is continuing to be good. It's just like, I don't see the need to cover this as much as some of the other ones above it, which I think are more relevant and interesting. Basically, is where how I'm justifying the rank of 9 in my head for that. Because it's probably a better show than some of the shows above it, but I just feel like it's not as relevant as those shows. So number 8, No Guns Life. Number 7, Dr. Stone. Number 6, I've got Cautious Hero, because it makes me laugh. Number 5, Stars Align, which I think is really good. Number 4, Vinland Saga, I definitely want to continue watching. Number 3, Beastars. Number 2, Babylon, which I think I liked the most out of anybody on the
That's
podcast.
so weird to me.
I find
but
that weird
okay.
too.
I just really got hooked by the story and want to know what happens, but it's another. I fully admit that feels like it's going off the rails in episode 4.
Also, I don't understand why Cautious Hero is 6 for you. Like, it's not that good of a show.
It is really well animated. I think that's part of it.
I don't understand how you justify Cautious Hero being above Legend of the Galactic Heroes. That is ridiculous and stupid, and you know it.
I think it's weird it's even in front of Dr. Stone.
I know. It's
Yeah, you know what? I'll admit that it might just be some recency bias.
yeah.
And then number 1, obviously Chihayafuru season 3. It's my favorite show of all time.
He's had this written in the doc since he fucking did it.
Yeah, that was just obvious. Yeah.
Meh.
So, Kat, 10 to 1. What have you got?
Okay, so I got Dr. Stone as number 10. High School Prodigies is number 9 because I really
Why?
wanted to see Leo get like upset about it.
It's such a bad
that's
show.
a good reason.
Like
What
it
a
would
bad
be so
show.
entertaining, and there aren't that many good shows this season, so it's like, like why not? You know. Then I've got 8 Food Wars. I really do think it's a good show to cover. It's fun. It's always entertaining. 7 Vinland Saga. 6 Orisuki. It's a good show. It's a good seasonal hit. 5 My Hero Academia, because you guys are stupid for not wanting to cover it. 4 Ahiro no Sora. I don't
This
know
one
why
I
you
don't-
guys
yeah.
dislike this so much.
It's too for me. I said it when we covered it, but I was like, it's too fucking bland for me. I don't know. It's just I don't get it. Chihayafuru is so much better than that. It's like so much better. Holy shit!
You guys are dumb.
As far as sports shows go,
I love sports shows though. 3 Legend of Galactic Heroes, 2 Beastars, and 1 Stars Align.
No.
Yes, we're gonna
the
make
stars
you.
have aligned. Ooh,
Ha!
oh my god!
I'm so happy that we agree on something at least.
Why? So why do you find Stars Align to be like your top show? Is it just What
kidding.
about it like did you connect with so much? I'm curious.
The characterization in it is very good, and it's almost you almost never see that kind of. So it just hit me from the beginning. Like I really liked the plot. I felt very into it. I didn't feel bored at any point. The characters are very good and very multifaceted.
Okay.
I felt like there's no way I get bored with this.
All right.
I'll be bored for you. It's okay.
I'm sure you will. All right. Then we have our top 5 consensus. Once we averaged out all these ranks, number 5, we're going to continue Dr. Stone.
I'm surprised.
Cool.
It made it. Number 4, very much drug up by Kat's number 1, Stars Align.
Yes.
So bad.
Consensus pick, which means Leo has to do reviews of it. That's great.
It is great.
Number 3, very much brought up by Leo, though we all rank this like decently, Orisuki.
Yep.
Number 2, we're also continuing with Vinland Saga. So that's the 2 big continuing shows we picked back both of them up. And then number 1, Beastars. Though Beastars and Vinland Saga were both tied in terms of like votes. So so those are our top 5 consensus. But that means now we got to talk about locks. And the order for this time around is Kat first, me second, Leo last. So Kat, you have the stage. What do you want to lock?
So my debate with my lock is between Legend of the Galactic Heroes and Ahiro no Sora.
God, I hate this season so much already.
I feel like one of those shows is clearly better.
Well, okay, so clearly Legend of the Galactic Heroes is better.
Yeah.
My debate is really with what is going to be more entertaining to cover week to week, and what will actually entertain people to listen to from week to week. Because I think Legend of Galactic Heroes is one of the better anime ever made, and I think it's very intellectual, and I think a lot of people kind of get glazed over listening to it, and they don't enjoy listening to us talk about it as much.
Potentially, yeah.
But I think it's really good. So my debate is really between what I personally think is the better show, and what I think will probably be more entertaining to cover week to week. Although it's not that I think that Ahiro no Sora is going to be like the best show ever to cover, but it may be a little more fresh, you know?
Okay. Yeah. I see what you're saying. I don't know. I would definitely vote for one over the other. Like, part of my concern with Ahiro no Sora is just like it's 50 episodes long. I can't see us covering the whole thing.
No, we're not covering the whole thing. So,
but then it's just like, why even start? Like,
I mean,
whereas with Legend of Galactic Heroes, we already covered like the first season. We're already in there. We've already been covering it. I don't know. That's just my 2 cents. But I know that's not like a great argument. But
yeah, I also feel like a lot of sports anime don't get covered very much. It's just a hard pick for me. Like, I could also go crazy and just be like, well, whatever, I'll just cover something random like Food Wars, but I don't know.
It's also nice because like Legend of Galactic Heroes was like made as 3 movies kind of, so it's got that like movie quality to it too, which makes it stand out even more. But I agree with you that it's like essentially the same story again, but a lot of people haven't seen this story yet.
A lot of people haven't. And this is an interesting season where, like, they're going to be covering a lot of the interesting plot stuff.
A lot of the cool shit happens this season. Yeah.
Yeah. I do like this like, arc a lot. I don't know. Because, like, I'm annoyed that people don't like sports anime as much as I like sports anime.
I like
God
sports
damn
anime.
it.
Chihayafuru is a sports anime, and so is Stars Align.
And I don't like sports anime.
I acknowledge that even though I really like Ahiro no Sora, like, it is essentially the same. Like, it's a plot that you've seen before, and the only reason I like it is mostly just because, first of all, it is a sports anime, and I like all of them, and second of all, because, like, there are gangsters in it, and I like drool over gangsters.
Do you think it'll have enough going on from episode to episode to just like talk about? That's my concern with it. Like, is that it's just going to be I don't know. I guess
it's not
it
going
does
to
have
be
those.
near Stars Align. I will admit that.
No, it's not going to be like that for sure.
Yeah.
It has some good characters, but it's like some of it's just going to be them playing basketball. And it's just going to be like, well, they won that basketball game.
Yeah, I think it may also be the development of them growing up, but I feel like Stars Align will probably do that better.
If you want to cover a sports anime in January, we have Haikyuu coming, and we're definitely fucking covering that.
Are we? Because we didn't cover the first few seasons, and so
I
I
will
wasn't sure.
make sure we cover that, probably.
Okay.
Depending on what else is airing, but I think so, yeah.
And then we do have Stars Align this season.
I might need to take that season off.
Have you not watched Haikyuu, Leo?
Nah, not
You
even
need to watch that.
second.
It's
I think
really
you would
good.
like it.
It's actually very action based. You would probably like it.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking hype.
It's
What's
not.
it about? Volleyball. School volleyball teams.
It's very it's
Some
one of the
cute
only
girls,
sports
too.
anime.
Oh,
I
goddamn,
think
I know
it
what you're
may be
talking
the
about.
only sports anime I've ever watched, Leo, where like my pulse went up watching it. It's very actiony. You would probably like it.
Yeah. It knows how to build hype really well. Just like
Yeah.
Chihayafuru.
No, that's not just like Chihayafuru.
That actually is just like
I don't know.
Okay, it's a little different. It's a little different.
Yeah, it's a little different. Okay, I'll go ahead and pick Legend of Galactic Heroes.
Okay, cool.
Okay. I think it was the better choice.
Okay, I just typed that in. I'm picking Chihayafuru. It's my favorite show of all time. I'm obviously picking it. I am going to be overjoyed to talk about it every episode.
No.
I'm so excited.
At least it saved us from Babylon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Babylon's still there. Leo could still make a great choice.
No, he's not going to make that choice.
I'm not picking Babylon.
I know you're not, obviously.
Leo, just don't make me watch some kimono bullshit.
Just don't, Kat, stop
Come
talking.
on.
You're digging your
I mean,
own grave.
if you're gonna like, No Guns Life is better than. I know you're gonna pick whatever you're gonna pick.
I didn't even have the slightest debate of what show I was going to watch, and it's
Oh,
going to be
really?
Kimono Michi.
You're
Yeah.
such a fucking brat! God damn it, Leo! You always do this to me.
I wrote that in the doc before you even said it.
What
So
was that? That was like your number 3 or something, or what was it?
number 3, yeah.
Yeah, so it's
Why
pretty
do
high
you
on
have
your
to-
list.
You have to watch this.
Hey, like
Fine.
I can't even say anything because like Chihayafuru is not on either of your lists, so it's
Nope.
I can't say shit.
I knew Kat would love it. She's
You're such a
she's just a big isekai girl.
I mean, I would have preferred like Cautious Hero or No Guns Life. But,
No, anything. Honestly, I'd prefer this to Cautious Hero.
Okay, well, that's interesting. Well, I mean, like, I don't know. I just hope I can get over the parts of this that feel like furry porn.
At least it's not. Yeah, there's a lot of furry shit on our list this time. But at least, I mean, I would have liked Guns Life better, but this, I guess I won't die. Maybe.
I feel like these 3 locks have a good chance at making it all the way to the end of the season, in my opinion. Because mine is obviously, and I think the other 2 have a good shot.
So in the North American trending, because I do keep track of this sort of stuff. We're not covering Sword Art Online or My Hero Academia, which are the top, like definitely in the top 10 always.
Right. But people
are-
already know if they like them or not, is the thing. So
Yeah. Oddly enough, Kono Oto Tomare season 2 has been like really trending high.
Yeah, that was surprising to me. That show's gotten kind of big, and I fell off of it, and now I kind of want to get back on and see if I
Yeah.
really like it or not.
So that's kind of interesting that we're not covering that, and that's trending high. We are covering Orisuki Stars Align, which is good. We Never Learned Bokuben season 2 is really high, which we aren't covering because we didn't cover season 1.
Completely, yeah. I have been watching some of that, but yeah.
I am too, but we kind of fell off on that too.
I'd rather
Hero-
cover Orisuki, though, is the thing. Like, I kind of think it's better and more interesting.
Yeah, A Hero no Sora has been like 7, 8 almost every week. We're not covering
Those
that.
Kuroko no Basuke fans coming out, being like, oh, there's a basketball anime? Let's go!
Yeah, I love my basketball anime. Psychopaths we're not covering, which has been trending high. Cautious Hero we're not covering, which is trending high. Occasionally, Chihayafuru will peek onto that list at 10. Sometimes.
That makes sense. Oh, you know what was funny? Like, it's actually not funny. It's kind of annoying. So Chihayafuru at one point had the highest score of any show on MAL this season. And then the Vinland Saga fans got upset because their little stupid show wasn't ranked as high as Chihayafuru. And so then a bunch of people went and gave Chihayafuru a 1 on MAL
Nice.
to sink its score. Fucking assholes.
You're such a brat. Like, listen to that anger in that.
Fucking
Isn't it
assholes.
adorable? Isn't it really cute?
He's defending his Chihaya.
And that's why I'm declaring that we're dropping Vinland Saga. No, I'm just joking.
No. Oh my god, that would be terrible.
I kind of want to do it. So, yeah. No, I think we have a good selection of shows. So, the 8 shows we're covering: Beastars, Vinland Saga, Orisuki, Stars Align, Dr. Stone, Legend of Galactic Heroes, Die Neue These, Part 2, Chihayafuru Season 3, and Kimono Michi Rise Up. Which is going to be funny regardless of how it plays out. So, with that, Kat, well, unless you got anything else to tell us, let's get out of here.
All right. Thanks for listening. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe to us on YouTube to get updates on new podcasts or videos. You can also find our podcast on iTunes, Google Play, or like anywhere. You know where you can fucking find it. You're listening to it now. Follow us on Twitter at Nerdom and Other for updates as well. Come hang out with us on our Discord with the link in the description. And with that, we'll see you next time. Bye.
Later.
Later.